It's Friday. You know what that means? Our crack at $4.5 million. So we drafted all the flagship best ball tournaments today. Underdog, DraftKings, Drafters, going to hit them all. Going to give some takes. Going to put up some good teams, hopefully. And, of course, I'm already in a draft room here, picking in the 9 spot. I feel like I've not been getting a lot of 101s. My influence waning by the day, which surprises no one if you watch this channel. But you see what we can do today. And shout out to Dan O here joining the channel as a member right before the stream started. Appreciate that from Dan O. Glad to see it. And welcome aboard, Dan O. Well, welcome to the family. So I'm not going to put the hat on, but I can do the voice for a second. Now you can bring your boys. Tell your boys you had a threesome. Yes, you had a threesome with sites that you pay money for. So much like paying for a threesome, it's what you're doing the same thing of here in best ball. But it's Friday. I've got, again, wife and kid out of town today. So let's crack open a beer. Today we'll be starting with a Victory Golden Monkey, one of my preferred beers. It does happen to be in the Pennsylvania area, but I've liked it since before then. And really, probably my favorite part, I guess, Pennsylvania, that I know that is based locally here. But cheers to all you guys out there. And hopefully you're having a good weekend yourself, whether you're having an IPA like I'm having today or you're just sober, which is now the cool thing to do. Gen Z loves being sober. They also love not getting laid and stuff, so maybe that goes hand in hand. Shout out to all you guys, whatever you're doing out there this weekend, and hope it's a good one for you. And hopefully put up some good teams here coming up. A lot of red badges in this room, which means nothing anymore on Underdog, but it used to mean something. Now it just very possibly means you've lost even more money over the course of a few years. Ashton Jency going pick 6. Don't see that very often. I would love to see somebody bump up Christian McCaffrey here too, so we can really get some nice receiver values coming back potentially, but not looking like that'll be the case. Everything flows according to ADP here. Malik Nabers coming up. I do like him. Jackson Dart not looking too impressive in OTAs so far, but Russell Wilson seemingly looking competent enough. Really, the main thing, though, is I've mentioned enough times for the Giants. I really believe that no matter who's starting a QB, they've got decent outs. Russell Wilson was good enough last year for Pittsburgh. And actually, probably a good time to look at the numbers because sometimes I have in my head, oh, this guy was actually pretty good last year, and sometimes the guy wasn't. So let's fact check that. Good way for picks around the turn. Russell Wilson last year, 74% catchable ball rate. It's a little bit lower than where you want it to be, but it could still work enough. 68% on target rate, getting a little bit lower than where you want it to be. Bo Nix, for comparison, 79% catchable ball rate, 69% on target rate. But Russell Wilson, still going to be an improvement, I think, on Daniel Jones, at the very least a lateral move, so we can live with that. If we are going RB piggy here, balancing our teams a little bit better, Derrick Henry would be the pick. If we're going week 17, correlation Brock Bowers would be the pick. I have been doing a lot of Brock Bowers with Malik Nabers, so I'm just going to go Derrick Henry here. Going to soak up the pick and a half of ADP value. But mostly with Derrick Henry, he is one of the guys that we talk about here. Saquon Barkley, Bijan, Derrick Henry, 3 guys who got high-level usage last year. James Cook, too. I guess you could put in that mix, too, though a little bit less work overall. But guys who got bell cow level usage, Jahmyr Gibbs, too, and on positive EPAs while doing it. So when you can keep a positive EPA, positive expected points added metric for your run plays, for your targets, you're doing it at great volume. Those players, to me, tend to be the most valuable ones. And obviously with running back, last year ran really hot with injuries in terms of just not having running backs get hurt. This year that can flip, and it could certainly mean the shifting back to a wide receiver heavy board. But as I've mentioned enough times on stream, I was the last guy off the ship with 0 RB. I'll still put up some 0 RB teams here and there, even though I think now 4 rounds of wide receiver to start feels like enough of a 0 RB. And you can still get some running backs because you kind of have to get some early running back capital in. But I'm building more balanced teams this year. So Derrick Henry will be a part of that. He apparently also, which doesn't fucking matter, but did a bit with Dan Patrick where Dan Patrick said if he gets 2K rushing yards again this year, that he'll get him in an Adam Sandler movie. And Derrick Henry was like, bet, of course, because, he's got to say it that way. The point being, I don't think it actually matters, but if he wants me in an Adam Sandler movie, it's so stupid. The things you learn about players like, Derrick Henry, yes, this generational back, large man who've seen throwing people around on video since literally he was in high school. And he's just a big Adam Sandler guy. Just really wants to be in an Adam Sandler movie. Really bad. RB Piggy Fridays. Yeah, not 0 RB Fridays. Like, I'll still do a 0 RB if it aligns, but we're not there right now. Am I taking some of the current free agents in best ball, Cooper, Keenan, Chubb, etc.? I take Keenan a good amount still. Think he just mostly doesn't want to be in camp and is waiting for an opportunity to step in somewhere that really wants to pay him both what he's worth and also that probably has an opportunity for him to be competitive for a title, to also get him the targets that he deserves. So I think Keenan Allen, to me, is still a guy take as wide receiver 6 if you are kind of dead at the position. Hope that he really pays off meaningfully. I like Keenan Allen a lot. People didn't really realize it, but he was a key player down the playoffs last year. He was also the Bears' best receiver analytically in terms of target earning, in terms of red zone targets, in terms of the actual fantasy production he put up. Even though people love DJ Moore a lot more, loved Rome Odunze coming in, Keenan Allen was the best of them. So I think he's an okay click. Chubb, I take sometimes when, again, I'm dead at RB. I think that's when the free agent things, those players come up a little bit more. Chubb, I think, still gets a goal line back roll for somebody out there, but the longer it drags out, the more I don't feel great about it because he's seemingly healthy enough. He wasn't very good last year, definitely showed the injuries and age and mileage on him and all that in terms of how his numbers looked, but, he's certainly a player that I think has utility if he goes to the right team. Or you've got Mike Evans here, which I think is a little bit of a tier break at receiver. Again, we've got Derrick Henry at RB, so we don't need to take Kyren Williams, even though I'm happy to take Kyren at pick 33 normally. One of those guys who I talk about with a great red zone role, getting, anywhere really you're getting 4+ intended red zone touches a game between targets and runs. That's going to be one of those guys that fits that criteria for me of having, a dominant red zone role. But Kyren last year, and I think it's the second year in a row, he's hit the criteria. 4.1, 4.4 red zone rushes a game, 0.6 red zone targets a game, so flat 5 per game. And maybe there's the faint chance of Blake Corum takes some work away this year. I still don't think it's the most likely, especially with them seemingly wanting to pay Kyren Williams an extension. People like Jarquez Hunter, but in reality, what you're more likely to see is Kyren Williams dominating the backfield yet again. At least that's how I view it. We got a pick coming up here. If Lamar had come back, I would have been tempted to pair him with Derrick Henry, give us some more upside at QB, but that's not going to happen. We got DJ Moore coming back. DJ Moore grousing about his role a little bit already in camp, with him saying he's not likely to have the same opportunity he's had in previous years. Travis Hunter, I don't mind here. I think let's go. Let's build the team. That's fun. The Jaden Daniels, why not? Hard to get Jaden Daniels with McLaurin unless you're really going on your way to do it. And Jaden here at pick 40 feels like we're back to paying a ceiling price tag for him when there was a period where you could kind of reliably get him mid-40s. But I still love Jaden. We all know the stuff from last year. He was my preferred QB. He, Bucky Irving, and Marshawn Lloyd, my 3 big stands last year. And 2 out of 3 I feel really good about. One of them, I feel like we got Simpson softball teamed and went to the nether realm with how much Marshawn Lloyd got hurt. For Jaden Daniels, though, he lived up to every possible bit of hype I had in terms of paying off his receivers as well, creating the best year of his career for Terry McLaurin, creating the best year Dak Ertz could have possibly had at his age at this point. Now you're getting the same guys back. You add in Debo, which I think does upset the picture quite a bit for Terry McLaurin, because Debo's going to take some of the short slant routes that McLaurin scored touchdowns on this year that weren't really in his wheelhouse. But McLaurin will have deep shots, same as he had last year. McLaurin will also sign at some point, even though he's likely to be holding out for a little bit because Commanders don't want to pay him enough money, I guess, right away for him to get him onto the field. But I like McLaurin. I don't think he's a must-have in a Jaden stack, and I think it's entirely possible that this year Jaden teams wins it with having Debo or Brian Robinson / Eckler, Ertz. Like, I think it's possible it's not a McLaurin team this year that carries you all the way. Would bet Henry could get in a Sandler film, no problem, given what Sandler's put out on Netflix. Hey, Happy Gilmore, people seem to be buzzing about that. Lots of cameos, seems like, in that one as well. But look, Adam Sandler's made a good money for good living for himself. Obviously, just making movies where he gets to go on trips with his friends. I feel like out of all the people in entertainment, he's probably got one of the best deals, best setups in terms of, like, you made an impossible amount of money. You have probably unlimited creative freedom. You can do stuff like Uncut Gems from time to time and show that he actually can act. Punch Drunk Love, another one back in the day. That was him being serious about stuff. He's had a hell of a career. I'm not gonna be mad at Adam Sandler. I do think it's odd though that Derrick Henry's like, yeah, man, I got to get an Adam Sandler movie. Like, I know, not to say it has to be Tyler Perry. We don't have to be totally stereotypes, but I just feel like Adam Sandler just feels surprising for me. Jersey time. Jersey's too far. Again, I'm not moving him over here because Kitty is always next to me, especially when Alex isn't in the house, and I have a hard time creating Kitty because she hates being in a crate. She's already getting really big for her crate, so that makes me feel like I don't love it that either. But yeah, the dog's always in here with me, so it's hard to have a Jersey next to me, given that she'd probably chew on it during the show. We got a pick coming up here, and also I don't care that much. Like, at this point, we're stripping down the show. You get to watch me gambling. We get to talk football. RJ Harvey going at 56 after Joe Mixon, Chuba Hubbard. People clearly afraid of J.K. Dobbins, even though he did not sign there. But we got Calvin Ridley here. I think feels like a good click at this point. I'm a big fan of Ridley and Cam Ward as a stack. That's a late stack you can get pretty easily, but also Calvin Ridley to me just as a receiver pick, I think he's a strong one because he played a lot better than people realized last year while having Will Levis not being able to throw him the ball accurately at all. Mason Rudolph coming in, giving him more professional caliber QB, but nothing special, just like kind of a dead average QB. Cam Ward, I think, is going to be better from day one compared to both guys. And as I've mentioned enough times on here as well, Jaden was my rookie stand last year. In terms of this year's QBs, there's not a whole lot to pick from, but Cam Ward to me would be the big stand to really want. And I've been doing it since basically since the big board as well. So Cam Ward will be a hill I die on here with late QB options. Joe Burrow goes here at pick 60, I presume unstacked. So not really a click you want to make too often. Doesn't really help you out too much. Doesn't really hurt the other team as much as people think. But we do see it happen on every draft platform. And obviously, look, Burrow's going to put up points. If you want to advance, getting Joe Burrow is not going to hurt. But if you want to make the finals and have a shot at having your true upside here, realizing that expected value at week 17, it's probably not going to come with unstacked Joe Burrow, even as like a 8-pick discount or whatever the case may be. So we can keep doing Tampa Bay here. Go Chris Godwin. We can also try to get a little bit more at RB. Travion Henderson, I'm not the hugest on, but he's certainly an okay click. James Conner, I do like a good amount here, and I think he would make us feel a lot more solid at RB. So I'm going to go that way. I'm going to go James Conner here. Chris Godwin, I do take very often. Love the Tampa Bay double if I can get it at reasonable ADPs because Baker Mayfield is one of your best QBs in football last year. And for Tampa Bay, paying the big money to Chris Godwin, Mike Evans still on the team. And the guys coming in particular, like Buka, not really doing anything that makes me worry about Mike Evans getting lapped. If they brought in Jaden Higgins, I'd be like, well, that guy does something really similar to what Mike Evans does, being a downfield outside receiver. But Igbuka's just, to me, should be the backup slot more than anything. McMillan going to play some X, I'm sure, behind Evans as well. Will be outside as a wide receiver 3 from time to time. But I think for these guys, I like them still. Happy to take Chris Godwin on ADP, even though I mentioned this on the Stochastic stream yesterday. Not sure if I did on other streams. I do think that Chris Godwin, it would be reasonable to be a little bit concerned about the fact he's not out there yet, given the fact he had that ankle dislocation. It supposedly wasn't serious, but now he's still not practicing, and we're in May. Supposedly the timeline has been the entire time frame, him being out there for actual training camp in July, and he's an older player, and he's had multiple lower leg injuries, so like it's good they're keeping him safe, I guess. But for Godwin, he could be a guy where if he's not there day one in camp, it wouldn't be shocking, and also his ADP would probably fall into the 70s, so I take Godwin to get him out. I'm happy to keep doing it, but I do think Godwin comes to that risk. We missed out on Debo as well, which sucks, but I think we needed RB more than receiver at this point. Henderson slightly overvalued. Yeah, I mean, look, the rookies this year overall have been overvalued. Genty I can live with. Hampton I can live with, even though I think he probably should have come down a little bit, given the fact he's competing against a back who's going to be very easy to earn trust and to take some touches away from, at least in the beginning of the year, with Najee Harris there for the Chargers. But I think for me, with the rookies, I've said it from the big board, really felt like they were overpriced the entire time. I think people are still carrying some priors there. Like Bashal Tootin, you'll hear people continue to tout, and like there's certainly potential for him to win that backfield by the end of the year, but he's a 4th-round back coming in. He's got some very obvious flaws. Does have the nice avoided tackle rate, but also gets stuff from the run a lot. Not great in the pass game, even though people think he's going to be able to do that. And I think he's carrying that ADP in large part because, people want to have somebody that can be that Devon Achane this year. But also just because people like rookies and like they really liked him in pre-draft and were told this is going to be the greatest rookie class ever at RB. And in reality, what they got is like 2, 3, maybe 4 really good RBs that got drafted up top. And then a bunch of guys that I think are going to be kind of just, I wouldn't say role players, but guys who can hit, guys who might not hit, depending on who's in front of them and how they play. That's sort of the issue with, I think, Travion, like Judkins to Caleb Johnson. Like, would it shock you if you saw more work for Warren? Like, I don't think it'd be the craziest thing in the world. We're on the clock here. Do you think receiver would be an okay click? I'm not the biggest Jaden Reed fan, so I'm actually going to go a different way and go Darnell Mooney. I like Mooney a lot. Mooney, to me, feels like he should be in the 70s ADP-wise. I think he's an exciting click. Jaden Reed, I do not find to be an exciting click, given the fact he barely earned targets last year. Now we're adding more bodies in with Matthew Golden, with Savion Williams. I don't think it's a great thing for him overall. And really, I don't know. The Packers wide receiver core, like if I get them for cheap, great. Dobbs for free in the 150s, basically fine to do that. Wicks entirely free in the 18th round. Still want to take those shots. It's not crazy about Reed at this ADP or Golden, to be honest, but it is what it is. Got a pick coming up here. I'll hit some more chats after that. We got Pacheco, Brian Robinson, Baker Mayfield here. who makes the team the best right now? Probably Baker Mayfield would give us a lot of points at QB potentially. But I do think if we take Robinson here, we get Washington correlation for Jaden. Obviously, they're not going to necessarily throw a lot of touchdowns to Brian Robinson, but I do think that for him, a player that will score touchdowns in games where Jaden doesn't have the highest ceiling, and really the rising tide of the offense coming together, much like it did for parts of time last year for Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. I think that Washington being good enough this year will help Brian Robinson be worth the pick. Correlated here. Will Indy make another move at QB if AR is worse than expected health-wise? Probably not. Maybe we just roll with Daniel Jones, see what they get. They added somebody else to that room this year, didn't they? Yeah, they added Riley Leonard in the draft too. So he's probably the guy you're going to groom to be a backup anyway, with a faint shot at starting. And, fellow Duke guy at one point, Daniel Jones. I don't know. Maybe that matters a little bit in some respect in the room. But I think really they'll probably be happy with just him being the backup. Daniel Jones gets more solidified. Still think with AR, though, you run the same thing. That was the issue the entire time is like whoever started for the Colts, you ran the rest of the other guy would be playing when it's actually playoff time. I still feel that way pretty aggressively. I like AR. I don't think he played well enough last year to take him a ton in drafts. I haven't done it very much. If he's for free going in the 18th round and it's him or, Aaron Rodgers, I think I'm still probably taking Rodgers because I think Rodgers will start week 1 and have a shot to start throughout the entire fantasy playoffs. But I think at that point, if you don't get Aaron Rodgers, then the other AR, Anthony Richardson, probably makes more sense. But it's not good for him to have the shoulder injury right now. He needed to kill this offseason. He really needed to come out, be a much better version of himself. And it hasn't happened yet. And again, he got a lot worse last year than in year 1. And maybe it's the shoulder issues lingering. Maybe he gets it fixed this time and it helps. But I think it's most likely, I don't know. He came in with the rep of being a really hard worker. And there are, puff pieces about him. And his stepfather was or adoptive father, whatever, was a fireman. And he really learned how to work hard because of that. And it seems like the rep at him so far is that he's not working hard enough, not doing enough to improve himself, focusing maybe on the wrong things where he's focused on footwork as opposed to just getting his accuracy up. So I don't know. I just think he might be a lost cause, which would make me sad. But that's how development cycles go. We got Luther Burden here, who was a little bit of a tier break. We did pass up DJ Moore earlier, so I think that'd be a reasonable click. In terms of QB, nobody really need yet, so I'll take the value on Luther Burden. Not crazy about him having a soft tissue injury early. As we talk about a lot here, people always think it's easy for rookies to win jobs, but in reality, they need to be there the moment camp is opening up, playing well, getting there when training camp opens up, playing well, or to be guaranteed a role. For Burden, I think he's locked into getting kind of those Deebo Samuel short targets, see what he can do after the catch stuff. I think we're going to get a look at that this year for him no matter what. But really wish at this ADP, I wish that he were healthy and you kind of trust it a little bit more. Got Brock Purdy, little RB pocket for sure. I've got a QB2 in mind. I don't think we need to go to that yet. I don't take a lot of Najee Harris, and I think today is going to be the day I take a little bit of it. Najee, for me, I think worth the shot given how high Marion Hampton goes. I think Hampton to me seems like a day 1 back. I just wish he were going anywhere where there wasn't a back who was a little bit better than people realized last year. Najee Harris does fit that criteria. He did have a negative 0.08 EPA per rush, which is not great, but at his volume, a slightly negative EPA can be a symptom of the offense itself as much as the player. But he had 18 and 10 touches a game, 21% avoided tackle rate in the run game, 28% target per out run, 3 red zone rushes a game, 0.2 red zone targets. Didn't get a whole lot there. But he had a good workload, got used pretty well. Obviously by a different team, and he came out well doing it. So, for Najee Harris, I don't love him because I think Hampton's the better player, but it's an ambiguous backfield. I think taking Harris, if you are taking Hampton at all, should be the move. But even if you're not taking Hampton, Harris is 80 picks cheaper, 70 picks cheaper. You got to take some shots. If I win BBM, I'd like to take you bill fishing, and I don't even know what that is. First of all, I have a rule of thumb of not going anywhere international with men off the internet. Second rule of thumb is if I don't know what the thing is, probably would increase the odds of that even more so. Reed should be more involved this year, but I said this last year. Yeah, the leap in year 2 you'd expect to have been a lot higher than it was. But for a guy who got targets as low as he did last year, pull up his numbers. Reed, very efficient, 0.5 EPA, especially for a guy that wasn't necessarily getting the highest A dot. He did have a 9.5 A dot, which is like pretty much in line with average for a slot guy. The target earning being at 20.7%, though, is really the big issue there. If you can't earn targets, you're just not going to get, in my opinion, where you need to go. And in this room, I don't know. Matthew Golden's not a great target earner either, so maybe he sees his son back. But Wicks did command a ton of targets. Like I'm just not sold on Reed overall. Certainly could have taken him there, but I'm not sold on him. I'm going to take a little safety net here. Tyjae Spears is very often my last RB in a room. We have a 1.550 here, which I'm okay with currently. RB, I think we're done with that one. We've got guys who all have some fractional amounts of a role or a shot to be the full lead back. You know, hopefully Connor and Brian Robinson will be. And receiver, I feel good about the 5 we have there. So I'll give the team a read in a minute here. I thought this guy was going to make his click really fast and I could be done here, but no, that's not the case. Come on. There we go. Takes Dalton Kincaid. All right, so I think this is time for me to go up and get Michael Penix. I don't want to get boxed out at QB. Do think Penix is a little bit underpriced as it is with the 146 ADP. So Penix, I think a strong player for me to take here as my QB2. So Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, stacked up for last year's Week 17 as well, which would have been great. RB, Derrick Henry, James Conner, so some old guys who really, I think, outperformed their age and we'd expect them to be last year. Brian Robinson, Najee Harris, Tyjae Spears, all guys competing for roles. Brian Robinson, likely your leader in the clubhouse for Washington as he was last year. At receiver, we have Nabers, Evans, Calvin Ridley, Darnell Mooney, Luther Burden. Fifth receiver could definitely have been better here, but we'll hopefully make it up with some volume on the home stretch because I think I'm done at RB. And tight end, we've got nobody in yet, so not going to have, well, we might have stack options available at tight end later on. We'll see what comes back. But I'm happy with the team. I think this is a nice start. We got the 3 Tylers checking in. I'm sure I assume just one of the Tylers, not all of them on one account currently. Maybe sitting on each other's laps. Who knows? The Tyfel Tower doing some nice best ball drafts themselves. Check out their new channel. Of course, our guy Emo Cowboy, along with the PPR Tyler and best ball guy. Tyler, I believe that's right. That's it. It's the third man, the Tyfel Tower. Shout out to those guys. It's always nice to see the young blood in best ball while I wither away here doing drafts. Rashad White goes here. What's this guy doing at RB? This guy went with what I, again, would call a modern 0 RB start here. 4 receivers to start. Did George Kittle as well. Trying to dig out with Montgomery, Swift, Javonte, Ramondre, Tyler Algier. Oh, okay. So, okay, it's not, that's it. It's Eric getting Tyfled. My bad. Sorry. I was like, I didn't think best ball guy's name was Eric, but then didn't think his name was Tyler, but I got confused. My apologies, best ball guy, because you do good work. I just I'm now at the old man level. I'm at the Bill Simmons level of things where people's names change and I just go like, I don't have room in my brain anymore. Pablo Torre, I'm going to get mad at you because you're doing reporting on my favorite coach. That's the level of my career I'm at with a lot less success. We got picks coming up. Tight end going frothy here. Jesus. Tight end. Winky Christ here, who I believe is the ETR guy. Does some of their social stuff, and I think had a good win in their NBA. In NBA basketball this year. He goes Bryce Young really early. This is really the panic quadrant of QB, I feel like. All right, Kyle Pitts comes back. That's easy. First tight end off the board. Pitts is in trade rumors. So Pittsburgh now apparently interested in Kyle Pitts, which makes no sense if you saw Kyle Pitts' career with Arthur Smith at the helm for him before. But at this point, Pittsburgh's just doing whatever they can. So for Kyle Pitts, I think seeing him for me right now in Atlanta stack, happy to take that on. But I guess it wouldn't be shocking if somebody traded for him. And Pittsburgh seems like desperate to get another playmaking option in. Which is crazy given that they didn't trade Pickens for a whole lot. But now it's like you're trading for Pitts. You have to pay him good money this year and also take on trading a second-round pick or maybe a third-rounder if you get the price tag down a little bit. It's a lot to give up for a guy that, again, Arthur Smith did not use well when he actually had access to him. This guy's got 8 receivers. What the fuck's going on in this room? His only RB is Kyron Williams. He had a team that I would have probably drafted in 2023, 2022. So I get what you're doing with that, but you gotta take some running backs. Really, it's important to get running backs, guys. I know we've shit on running backs a lot on this channel for years, but boy, oh boy, you need to do better than that, I think. We're on the clock here with our 2-5-5-1 build. Romeo Dobbs doesn't really correlate with anything we're building out here, but I do think Dobbs is undervalued as a guy that's been relied upon pretty well by Jordan Love in the past. It's certainly a chance that this could be his last year in Green Bay because I think his rookie deal's coming up. You could see Savion Williams taking over the role potentially, I guess, to be your risk point. But Dobbs has been targeted a lot in OTAs so far. He's gotten positive camp reports, so I'm cool with Dobbs here, and would have been okay with Wan'Dale Robinson as well. But I just am not sure that I'm crazy about Wan'Dale Robinson on a team with Nabers where I'm not going to take the QB. I just don't think Wan'Dale. I don't know. He's spiked before. But I feel like Slayton's going to be a better fit with the QB play this year, where it's going to be actually guys who can get the ball past the sticks. Oh, good call. Dobbs has worked with Henry. I forgot I had Henry on the team. So, a little Baltimore-Green Bay correlation for Week 17. Then another elite drafters username Pogcheeks. Well, at this point, all the people that are making the best usernames are my signups, I think. We've had Jetsy's Diastema, Urinal Pubes on there. Got some good guys for contributing. Shout out Tyler, 24 months, almost 2 years. But so close here to when we first launched Splash Play memberships. And boy, I've done so much in that time frame. But shout out Tyler, one of the most OGs here. And again, really one of the guys that I admire the work he does, because it is sometimes hard to do as much work in the space when when you're not getting paid the hugest money by the partner sites out there. And Tyler does the work because he loves it. And that's something that I think matters a lot in the space. You want to be, that's Heather to the people that do this because they love it more than anything. Well, you don't look a day over whatever your age is. Wan'Dale, 140 targets last year. Good pick, I think. Yeah, look, I don't think he's a bad pick. I just think the offense is going to open up a lot more with the QBs they have in that room. I mean, Jameis alone obviously speaks, I think, what they're trying to do. Zach Ertz falls right back in my lap. Very happy with how this draft's working out. Zach Ertz, second tight end off the board. Tight ends both stacked up with our QB. We got a decent wide receiver 6 in to make up for Burden, in my opinion, being a little bit shoddy as your wide receiver 5. Love the team. Came together really well. Wan'Dale did historically the least with 140 targets ever. That also wouldn't surprise me. Where's Wan'Dale? I don't look at Wan'Dale's numbers enough. We can do it here. Negative 0.14 EPA per target. That's really bad. It's good target per out run, 25.5%. That works. 4.6 air yards per target. That's awful. Cam Ward came all the way back. I don't think we need the third QB, but we've already got the stack set up. And I do think Michael Penix, I like him a lot, but looking at his numbers yesterday, wish they were a little bit better, just based on how much I've been taking him. We'll go Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, Cam Ward is our QB room here. Because we took Jaden Daniels early, really don't need the third QB, but I feel really good about my team being nice and balanced so far, not feel like I'm desperate for any positions right now. So to me, that feels like a good move. I could still get my third tight end, could still tack on one more receiver. So I'm going to go Cam Ward. So the team so far is Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, Cam Ward, 3 QB build, all 3 QBs at least double stacked. Derrick Henry, James Conner, Brian Robinson Jr., Najee Harris, Tyjae Spears is the RB room. At receiver, we have Malik Nabers, Mike Evans, Calvin Ridley, Darnell Mooney. Love the top 4. Luther Burden, I think, is my one guy that comes with some risk. Romeo Dobbs, I think a good price tag for a guy who's been meaningfully involved for Green Bay for years and is a guy that does train as Jordan Love in the offseason. And then Kyle Pitts and Zach Ertz. I think a third tight end would make sense here. Probably an obvious one that will hopefully be available later on. But we'll see. Thank you, Matthew. Matthew always hyping me up here. Great team. I appreciate that. I think so. Little Jordan Humphrey there to bury all the Wan'Dale and Slayton dude is huge. Oh, God. I mean, Little Jordan Humphrey has always been more of a Sean Payton fetish, so I don't think so. Slayton's making enough money that I would expect him to be the guy that you really do see get the work. But teams do like playing Little Jordan Humphrey out wide because he blocks and he's very large. So I wouldn't never take him in a best ball tournament format, but maybe he's a reason that a guy like Slayton doesn't get there. I still think Slayton's in line to have his best year ever, would be my guess. Just because the attention Nabers is going to require. He'll also get a ton of targets, but he's going to require like double teams, bracket coverage. Slayton going over the top and catching some balls and making it look easy, I think is probably going to be there for him. There was a point where he got a ton of volume because he was also the only viable Giants receiver like 2 years ago. So maybe that's probably his like true ceiling. But I think at this point, for him being a number 2 receiver, he's probably gonna get as close to a ceiling as he's ever been, would be my guess. We'll see. All right, I think here we have Chigakonkwo. I'm cool with that. These guys have a lot of receivers in the picks after me. So Chigakonkwo, tight end 3, stacked up with Cam Ward. We didn't get any bringbacks for week 17, really. Didn't get a Rams bringback for Atlanta. Didn't get a Dallas bringback for Washington. Didn't get any New Orleans bringbacks for Tennessee. At this point, I'm not sure it makes sense to go out of my way to do that. But that'd be a consideration here for sure. Finally joined DraftKings. Did you use the promo code SplashTD? I hope you did. Please, got to keep them happy on there. Of course, this show is presented by Drafters, by the way. Even though we are drafting Underdog currently, my channel is here is presented by Drafters because they're supporting me doing all the drafts on all the sites, and a lot of the companies don't enjoy you doing that. So today you'll be doing DraftKings, Underdog, and Drafters, and that's coming up on the next site in a moment. Darius Slayton came all the way back. Easy peasy, 7th wide receiver. We've talked him up enough, and I passed on Wandale. So Slayton, come on down. Final team is a 3-5-7-3. Feel like I balanced it really well today. Jaden didn't get enough Washington stack. That's one thing that would be a critique for sure. Should have maybe reached for Debo. But Washington with Jaden Daniels here up top at QB, Michael Penix, Cam Ward at RB, Derrick Henry, James Conner, Brian Robinson Jr., Najee Harris, Tyjae Spears. At receiver, Malik Nabers, Mike Evans, Calvin Ridley, Darnell Mooney, Luther Burden, Romeo Dobbs, and Darius Slayton. And at tight end, Kyle Pitts, Zach Ertz, Chigakonkwo. Could have put on Theo Johnson here too. I think that wouldn't have been crazy for a 4 tight end build because I feel good enough about my top 4 receiver. And really, that's what kind of decides, I think, how much receiver capital I spend lately is like, do I like the top 4? If I do, then I'm willing to go a little bit heavier at tight end. That's what we got today. But it's time, I think, for the DraftKings stage of our journey. So you guys might beat me on there by the time I get over to it. But DraftKings, another shot at $2 million up top. And I'm going to enter it right now. And if you want to draft along with me, I'll see how many spots there are. I don't really care at this point. I've got 10 spots left on DraftKings. So you want to play along with me on DraftKings, now's your time to do it. Here we go. Thank you, TD. I appreciate the support. Yeah, I assumed you would, but I'm sure Liam does some persuasive drafters. Whoever else is out there doing draft drafts, I don't know who is. I think Liam does, but appreciate you guys who do sign up that Drafters promo code because, again, really would not be doing drafts this year, at least as much on stream if we're not thanks to Drafters. So check them out. Drafters.com, promo code SPLASH. It'll be the last stage in our journey today as well. So if you want to draft with me on stream today, you can do that. When we hit Drafters, 20-round draft, no playoff pods, so the luck component of your pod matchups goes out the window a little bit. And here on DraftKings, we're going to be playing with pods. So we'll do another PPR site. We just did our half PPR site with Underdog. And for Underdog, too, I would recommend checking out Michael Dubner at RotoViz tweeted that the the Greyhound tournament that's going on in Underdog right now, which is a single entry, $35 entry fee if you want to afford that, can afford that. It seems like it's one of the most plus CV contests of the year based upon what the rake is on it, what the advance rates are and stuff like that. So check that tournament out on Underdog as well. I did BBM here for 20-second drafts, but check out the Greyhound on Underdog, another good tournament because, again, it's important to talk about all these sites together. When you only talk about one site, I think you're doing your the best ball people who watch you a disservice, and there's a lot of validity to drafting on DraftKings, a lot of validity to drafting on Drafters, and a lot of validity to drafting on Underdog. So it's important to do, if you're trying to be serious about this, important, I think, to do a little bit of all three if you can. But let's see what DraftKings does. I'm just going to chug this beer in the meantime. I feel like I haven't made much progress on it. Nothing like a 9.5% beer that does not taste like a 9.5% beer. 5 spots left on DraftKings if you want to get in here. Is there a place where Underdog pre-announces contest releases? I thought Wednesday were the standard release days. I don't think there's a standard release day. Their Underdog Drafts handle does tweet that out. So put notifications on Underdog Drafts handle, I think would be it. Be the best way to do that. So Happy Underdog's marathon is struggling to fill, trying to take Drafters market share, and they've stayed out of your lane. Yeah, I mean, look, I get it. I certainly get why you would do that. Try to give people different options. Frankly, if I were Underdog, I think putting out PPR drafts would also not be a crazy thing to do for a few tournaments, but they don't do that. But yeah, look, there should be room for everybody to do stuff, but competition's competition, capitalism's capitalism, I don't have anything I don't have anything intelligent to add beyond that. But that's, WWE books shows against AEW when it doesn't really have to do that. Same reason there. It's just people are competitive. But we're picking the 12 hole again. Another fucking end of the draft selection for me. I can't get a 1 hole for the life of me, but I am picking next to our friends Robert for the turd. I am the KY. Team Skank at the 1 hole is also a splash play squirt squad person, but who knows? T-War Craft. I don't know we're calling Tyler Warren T-War. Craft for me. I like Craft. Craft got banged up in minicamp, so he might fall up in ADP right now because people freak out about that. And Musgrave should be healthy this year and be able to take some work away. But Craft was too good. He commanded targets, I think, better than Jaden Reed. No, right in line with Jaden Reed. 19% target per out run, 0.35 EPA per target. 0.9 red zone targets a game is also pretty good for him. I like Craft a lot. Tyler Warren, I think, is really talented. I just think he got the worst run out of a spot. Daniel Jones starting a QB will be better for him, I think, than AR. But I just wish Warren went anywhere else that needed a tight end more. Did I go through this appointment of Carter 6? I saw you ask this earlier. I didn't listen to it. I saw the album thing. I'm not like a big Lil Wayne guy, to be totally honest. He's fine. I have no issue with him. But especially in recent years, like, and again, and we don't talk too much politics on here, but like, I'm not like a big MAGA guy, obviously. And the fact that he did kind of sell out for that, I think it's kind of gross. And the Super Bowl thing with Kendrick also kind of grossed me out. He's fine. If I hear songs on like playlists or whatever on Spotify or whatever, or on pop radio, I'll hear them. But yeah, not a priority for me, unfortunately. And Turd Boy does fill the room, motherfuckers. Yes, indeed. It's so funny. I say the MAGA thing about Lil Wayne, lose 3 viewers right away. Like, come on, guys. Can we just move on? I think at all times right now, can we maybe admit that perhaps it wasn't the best choices made by the election this year? And look, I didn't vote, so you can shit on me for that too. But come on. I think with what happened on Twitter yesterday, I think we could go that shit's off the rails, guys. I think we maybe admit some bad choices have been made. And it's also his quality too, and what he's putting out's fallen off. But like, again, the Super Bowl thing, I just thought was like, I don't know, kind of pathetic, like in a way that I thought was sad. Like I didn't like him raining on Kendrick's parade, but then also being kind of woe is me about it. Like that's kind of a bitch move as well. And he's like, well, now I'll never do the Super Bowl. It's like, I don't think they were going to want you to if they don't want you to do it in New Orleans anyway. He's just one of those like quote unquote legends to me that I feel like just didn't really ever hit for me as a legend the same way. But Drake is the same thing too, to be honest. How high am I on the Broncos this year? Top 5 offensive line, coupled with the top 5 defense. They're a team that doesn't want to push the offense to too high of a level, so I'm not like crazy about them. I like Bo Nix with where he goes. He does fall a lot in rooms, so sometimes I'll take him backdoor stack with Ingram and Mims. Sometimes even your Devon Velez, Troy Franklin, I'll still take sometimes. I think the Pat Bryant thing fucks things up for them a little bit because I'm not sold that he's actually going to matter in that rotation, but it does mean like if he does matter, he can definitely, like if they force feed him the ball, which I don't know why you would with the draft capital you gave him and his low athletic profile as well. But if he gets fed like a Michael Thomas, he's going to upset the entire receiver room. And I don't think he's talented enough to do that. So that's my bigger issue is that the stack's not clean. But Knicks with Sutton, I'm cool with. I'm still okay taking RJ Harvey, even though I don't think he's as elite of a talent as people are drafting him like Genty and Hampton are legit very good backs. RJ Harvey's a dude who's like okay playing at one of the not good Florida schools. Plus EPA and all that, but he didn't play real competition. And he also didn't miss tackles in a way that I feel great about. So I'm not like in love with Denver. I think they're still going to be a team as they get better. They'll rely on the defense more. But the Bo Nix, the Sutton parts, I think good. Ingram, I think, going to play well in that offense as well. I think he's going to be the best version of tight end they've had. So I don't dislike them, but I'm not like crazy about them. 12 pick here for me yet again. Derrick Henry goes a little bit higher on DraftKings. We could do that. We could also go 0 RB, see how it goes. Take Nico Collins, Brian Thomas. Just make it Derrick Henry day. We sell here. You know what? We salute our king every draft. I've been a guy that loves drafting old RBs bright and early in a draft room. I'm going to do it again. We'll take Derrick Henry, Nico Collins as well. RB wide receiver start. I like both guys. Again, we're stacked up for previous week 17s with Houston, Baltimore. But look, Derrick Henry, just a player that if I get him here and there isn't wide receivers, I think are a more fun click in that moment. I'm going to take Derrick Henry. I just don't think he's the kind of player that I'm going to be unhappy with the results of. So team so far, Derrick Henry, Nico Collins, and now we got 20 picks before I go again. So I'm just going to get drunk, I guess. All I have to do today is walk the dog because I have no parenting responsibilities. Alex is not here. I don't have to entertain her with her whimsies. Apparently, though, for all the parents out there, we'll say a fun little bit of gossip, and it doesn't matter because nobody's going to be relevant to this will ever watch the stream. So Alex is on a trip with two of her friends who she knew from California. Now they both live in the South, and their kids, and they both have 2 kids each. And the one mom's kids are great, really sweet, high EQ kids, like communicating about their emotions and stuff when somebody does something mean. Other kids, real bad. And the mom had 2 kids with the dad, even though the dad, like, they're already divorced already, and the kids were like the oldest one's 3. And like apparently the kids where the dad wasn't around a lot, and like they're divorced, like just unruly kids. And it's like, oh shit, I guess dads maybe have some utility. But Alex is the deal though with like the idea, like this kid, one of her friend's daughters is like a nightmare, like won't share, doesn't apologize for anything. And obviously, you know, toddlers, like they're just pure id, like they're just going wild at any given moment. And for a child to be a toddler and not like be able to, you know, like apologize for stuff to other toddlers, like tough scene. So I don't know, it really matters. Thought it was interesting. Like, and again, made me feel like, oh, good. I guess me being a dad maybe kept Luka from being less of a piece of shit, because he's got like fucking real toxic toddler energy. I think he'd be a huge asshole if it were not for that. But anyway, that's my hot gossip about parenting stuff. Carter 6 would never top Young Thug's Barter 6. Here you go. All right, look, you guys can have this debate without me. I'm not in the streets enough for that anymore. Back in the day, high school Spags in the Bronx, I would know every rap thing possible to keep my vague minority credibility. Now as an adult, I'm just an old suburban white dad who plays. I'm still like, I'm cool by suburban dad standards, I think. Like, I do still interesting things. I keep up with stuff enough. And Alex too, you know, I think the LA in us keeps us young relatively. But man, like I was also fucking trimming the white hairs on my beard this morning. So I am not your guy to debate Young Thug versus Lil Wayne at this point, unfortunately. You the kids need an outlet, teach them stacking week 17 correlation. As soon as Luka's ready, he'll be gambling. No, he won't be gambling. I will try to actually, I would love to keep Lucas safe away from gambling as much as possible. But I do try to tell him, like, I try to give him plus EV advice and everything where, like, oh, how to swing a baseball bat. Like, obviously every dad would do this. But it's like, I know, like, I look up on YouTube, like, all right, here's where the launch angle should be. Here's, you should be trying to teach your kid to do it. Try and really give him the best intel that I would have wanted when I was a kid, where, like, I'd read basketball books and stuff, and I'd practice posting up a chair and shit. But now it's like, if I had all the YouTube resources, like, I would have probably been, would at least I think made it college basketball. I was like a good enough shooter. College football, probably not. I don't think I had enough athletic ability there. Maybe. But with the tools you have at your disposal, I could see why parents get sucked in even more to their kid, like be good at a sport, because you can talk yourself into like, oh, you know, like I'm teaching them the right way and they're getting good. Like Luka's getting fast. Like I'm timing him to run to a tree every day, which is classic lazy dad shit, but also like it tires him out. It works well. So I just time him running to a tree, and I'm like, you got to get your running form right. We gotta get your arms pumping. So he might end up being fast because daddy doesn't want to do any actual work. We got Derrick Henry, Nico Collins, Mike Evans here, who I just took. Taking the elite QB with Jaden Daniels wouldn't feel bad. DJ Moore, again, just coming down a little bit in rooms. Whatever. Just going to DraftKings, same fucking team. Jaden Daniels, come on down. You're my elite QB. So we didn't get Nabers in this one. We get a Jaden Daniels, Derrick Henry team again. Nico Collins and Mike Evans this one. And I think Evans was also in the last one. So the big thing we've changed here is a Nico Collins, Malik Nabers swap. But I'm okay with that, because I do think if you are a player that's confident in your drafting ability and also has certain player takes that you like, having teams that look kind of similar but deviate one player up top, it's not a bad thing. If every one of my teams looked like this, then I'd be Davis Maddock, and I would be a thing that I would say is probably not great if you're diversifying. Even if you hit on it, probably not the move. But I'd also have a ton more YouTube views. Then so that's a trade-off. We gotta. Yes. I'm just gonna make these guys all my team. Like, guys, I fucking love Derrick Henry in every draft room. Jaden Daniels, you know I love. Give me Mike Evans. That's it. On the white hair and the beard makes it look like I'm constantly fighting off money shots. Yeah, it's my least favorite. Also, like, I'll go full screen for it. Like, my face is like fat right now because I've gained weight, like most adults do. I think in particular when they're vaguely depressed living in suburban hell. But the white hair is also like line my face in a way where it makes my face look fatter. So I'm like, it's the worst of all worlds. And like, it's to the point where it's like, I would love to shave my facial hair entirely, because that does make me look a lot younger, but like my face would be so fat I'd want to fucking kill myself. So I'm in real no man's land with it all. Really need to start fucking actually shooting Ozempic, I think. And then I could shave my facial hair. I could start the trickle down effect. Take one more run at being TV pretty. Probably not, though. Probably not. Ice cream's too delicious. Beers are too delicious. That's really the issue when you're a dad, I think. And what am I doing it for? I'm not going to get out there trying to fuck. Maybe if I go down the divorce trail, like some of our friends in the chat have, like, then that'll be back in the game. Really need to get things right. What do I need to look sexy for you guys? It doesn't fucking matter. Make them play golf. Every kid plays golf. It's now not plus EV to make your child play golf. In fact, I would say it's probably more plus EV to teach your child football at an early age, because a lot of parents are afraid of like CTE and whatever. Not that you shouldn't be, but we're going to lean in. Make him wear your watch so you get credit for the steps. I take steps, baby. I got like fucking 12K steps yesterday because Kitty had to do 2-3 mile walks. Like I'm Amish. I was in a draft where someone forced a Nico Ladd start, ended up really liking how his team ended up. That's a fun week 17 correlation that I think people won't get to as much. That's a good one. I still wouldn't do those too early in a draft cycle because you don't know. Ladd McConkey could hurt his knee or something. Sorry, Adam, cover yours. Nico Collins or Ladd McConkey could hurt themselves, and then they could fall in ADP, and all of a sudden everybody's got Nico Ladd McConkey for week 17. So I never like doing that early in a draft cycle, but I think that's a little bit more fun than some of the more obvious ones like the Rams-Atlanta one. That's my favorite pairing if you get Drake London and Puka together. But you can't do that. Ozempic's bad for you. Why is it bad for you? It just tells you you're full basically and lowers your blood sugar. I don't think there's any real downside to it, though. The tirzepatides are supposed to be better, but I can tell you, because I did that orally for a couple months, the oral stuff doesn't work. Pause. But like, you got to do the shot, I think, is what I learned. Because like I'm not a needle guy. I can do a shot if somebody else has given to me, but I didn't want to do needles. If I were to do it again, I would just do needles, I think. But maybe come football season, I'll be skinny football boy. Turd boy boot camp is the way. What's the boot camp? Just fucking do an Adderall and some whiskey, calling it a day. So you take the effort to take trend. Oh yeah, please. If anybody has any hookups for legit PEDs, let me know. I know we have enough of a community here. I'm open to it. Open for one last run at like trying to be peak physical fitness. And then if it doesn't work out, then I give up entirely and just try not to die. That's the fallback. It's like, all right, can I get one last run of being like really hot and sexy? And if not, I'll just really try my best to not fucking let my heart explode. It's going to be the hope and dream. All right, we got 2 picks coming up here on the turn. I think a good spot to make it up at RB and take one of Kamara and Connor. I am going to make sure I stack up Jaden this time. So Deebo Samuel's going to be one of the picks. We'll add him with Nico Collins and Mike Evans. Sam Laporta would give us an elite tight end, technically, even though Sam Laporta did not perform enough like an elite tight end for me. Kamara and Connor. I'll go Kamara here. Get a little bit of an ADP discount. Last time I did do Henry and Connor on Underdog, so we'll take more of the PPR boy here on DraftKings. Team so far, Jaden Daniels, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara. At receiver, we have Nico Collins, Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel. So didn't get Ridley here because he wasn't available, so that wasn't an option to click. So we've done different things enough from last draft, but you are seeing, I think, a very comfortable way for me to build right now. Getting that elite RB in. If elite QB is there, and I like the elite QB, and I like all of them, but if it's there and the price tag doesn't make me want to die, I could do that. This team is probably a kind of type of team I'll build a lot of this summer, would be my guess. Ladd's invincible. I mean, I hope so for your sake. I do think for Ladd, if Trey Harris hits a ceiling outcome, then we know the real alpha receiver is the Chargers. But yeah, I'm happy to take Ladd. I think Ladd at his ADP right now, I've made peace with it. Kind of odd that like them drafting Trey Harris pretty early didn't move Ladd at all. Like Ladd just stayed stuck, pick 17, 18 still. I still think the biggest issue for the Chargers long-term is that once the defense is good, there's not going to need to chuck it to Ladd over and over again at length. I think at that point, he becomes more of a lower ADOT PPR guy. And if Trey Harris pays off, Quentin Johnson gets better, something like that. I still think there's like a world where there's not a lot of passing production overall. The defense kind of holds things down. And then you're getting Ladd getting maybe 8 to 9 PPR targets a game that feel okay, but maybe not the highest upside. But I don't know. The Chargers really did upset my expectations last year because I thought they were going to be real boomer offense just based on everything they've said so far, or it said last year in particular. And then the defense wasn't there early on, and they were like, fuck it, we got to sling it. And I think they kind of liked what their identity became when they slung it around a little bit more. So we'll see. Don't have a lot of Ladd this year, surprising. I mean, it's a tough price tag for him, but I think he's better than Trey Harris pretty comfortably. They're different players is really the main thing. Like Lad's going to be a slot guy. People always want him to go out wide. Hayden Winks, I feel like, is like fucking culprit number one, where he's like, he was good the 30 times he ran around. It's like, he's not going to be an out wide guy. It's not what they're going to use him for. They tried a little bit, didn't like it that much. But I think the bigger thing is like having an outside receiver who's actually might be good, can hurt the outlay a little bit, because part of the reason he got there in particular in the playoffs is because like Quentin Johnson was just dust and like was falling apart with the drops and all that. So if you have a guy who's like reliable and also an elite target earner, which Trey Harris was at Ole Miss, we'll see if he can do it in the pros. Then that's the kind of thing that upsets the pie a little bit for Lad, because you really need him to get all the passing game, I think, if they're not going to be super high pass rate, but who knows? Harbaugh does have a man crush on Herbert, which can help. Debo's going to crush. I think he's going to get a lot of touchdowns here. I don't know, because he'll have better deep targets, more reliable deep targets than he's had from Jaden. But I think the big thing for him is that he immediately absorbs all the slant routes that Terry McLaurin got kind of bullshit touchdowns on last year. He probably absorbs some of the weird dink and dunk bullshit that Austin Eckler got value out of last year. And I think for Cliff Kingsbury, he just loves horizontal plays for guys out in space. That's where the upside really is for Debo. Like, I don't think he'll be the same Debo he was that one really good year he had for the Niners a couple of years ago, where he was a little bit slimmer, was getting downfield and doing a ton of things in addition to the run stuff. But he's going to take a lot of the short yardage plays away that I think are going to lead to a ton of touchdowns for him. We've got a 1-2-3-0 right now, so we definitely need some receiver firepower in. I do hate Diggs. It's not going to change anytime soon, unfortunately. Golden, I could take a shot at. Jaden Reed, I really don't like very much. I think Golden's the choice, number one. Kelsey's come up in ADP a good amount on DraftKings. Pick 78.5 here ADP-wise. I could do him as a value elite tight end. I can also just take Brian Robinson and feel better at RB, and I'm going to do that again. Really think balancing out my wide receiver and RB picks make me feel a little bit stronger about the teams, and I still think I'm building good tournament-friendly teams, but I think I'm building now a little more advanced rate-minded. So that's what we're going to do. Jaden Daniels is my QB still. Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara. We got Nico Collins, Mike Evans, Debo Samuel. Added Matthew Golden on top of that. Really doesn't feel like he's a great PPR site play, to be totally honest, because he was such a low target earner at Texas, like 20% target per out run. Even though he spiked in the CFP, like he didn't really get a ton of targets overall throughout the year. But his wide receiver 4, I can live with it. In a 20-round draft as well, we'll get some volume later on. And Brian Robinson stacked up for our Washington stuff again. Again, very similar teams for me, but I'm picking in basically the same spot, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I like who I like. And I'll deviate sometimes when I know my exposures as I get more entries in. For right now, just taking dudes I like. Offensive line got better. Both RBs got upgraded. Didn't have to actually rely on Quentin Johnson anymore. True. But he's still going to get shots naturally just around offense flows. Unless Trey Harris beats him out outright. So, like, Quentin Johnson, I know, like, we'll always remember the bad stuff with him, but he took a pretty big leap forward last year. 0.33 EPA per target, 24% target per out run, 1.3 deep targets a game. 0.2 EPA on that's not great. 0.8 red zone targets a game. He had a legit red zone role. His targets per game in the red zone exactly the same as Adam Thielen, Isaiah Likely, Michael Pittman, Dontavian Wicks, Marvin Harrison, Cooper Kupp, AJ Brown. It's not bad usage for what QJ got last year. So we'll see. Just got off work, took the shirt off, and grabbed a beer immediately. Thank you. Spencer, you are a man of reliability, and I appreciate that. Golden was really good in the 2 games against Georgia. There you go. I mean, maybe just rise to the occasion against the best talent. That'd be your hope. If you are taking Matthew Golden like I did here. Guys, show some love if you can. Hit the like button, subscribe. Again, we'll be doing our last draft on Drafters here on Friday. And, of course, what I do on Fridays here, different than anybody else in the industry, because they all, I don't know, they're scared. No, they also, the exclusive deals have been not great for the industry. And I think it's important for you guys to see your 3 big sites, DraftKings, Underdog, Drafters here. I do it every Friday, all 3 drafts or all 3 flagship tournaments on the big 3 sites. And also do more drafts in week on Drafters, on Underdog, on DraftKings, on Stochastic too. So show some love, hit the like button, subscribe, and the volume of drafts here will be going up. Come hell or high water, I'm just going to get more drafts up in the summer because that's sort of what I have to do. So Join on here and check out Drafters as well. Promo code /Drafters. If you want to hit my next draft with me on stream, PPR draft on Drafters, where there's total points format, no playoff pods, and get 500K up top in that one. That's the 0.5 and the 4.5 million, the title of the video. But Drafters will be the last stop on our journey, and so come draft with me right after this draft ends. So go sign up now, and you'll be good to go. We'll hit Drafters in a moment. There we go. Checking chats here. What's the scoring format on Drafters? Well, good question. It is, in fact, PPR, 20 rounds. And really no playoff pods is the big thing. As I've talked about enough times on stream, it's usually part of my little ad sale for Drafters. Last year, I put in legitimately 3 entries in playoff best ball, finished top 12. The year before that, put in 30 entries in their big tournament, finished top 100. So that's what you're getting on Drafters. Your EV will carry you a little bit further on there if you are a competent drafter. And no pun intended with the name, but it is a site that obviously DraftKings and Underdog, I want to get my action in here too. I want to have the big wins on these sites, but happy to just getting money from Drafters is like a nice thing. On a site with some overlay, never hurts. We got picks coming up here eventually. We are in that QB panicked run area of things where they take everybody besides Bo Nix. Bo Nix floating around here, pick 102, 104. This is 91 ADP. DraftKings people just never take Bo Nix at ADP. At least that I see. Obviously, somebody out there must be doing it because ADP hasn't moved. But I skip up Bo Nix to the 12 pick discount pretty often. In this case, we'll see. Somebody can get more than that. We got Houston, Tampa Bay, Washington, Green Bay. Yeah, Bo Nix doesn't make a lot of sense for this team, unfortunately. Jaden Higgins does, though. So we'll go Jaden Higgins here as one of the picks. And Jordan Love's not going to come all the way back. It's so hard to pass up Bo Nix at pick 91. I mean, with an 91 ADP and take Jordan Love now with a 121 ADP. That's not the way to do best ball usually. But we have too big of a bet on Green Bay, Baltimore. So I am going to go with Jordan Love now. So free Bo Nix for somebody. And I think generally the rule of thumb with that much of an ADP discount would be that you take Bo Nix, you just try to backdoor stack Denver. But I had the week 17 stack for Baltimore, Green Bay. Jordan Love, I think, makes as much sense. And I've scooped a lot of value Bo Nix so far. So second QB done here with Jordan Love. I'll give the team a read. We got Jane Daniels at QB. At RB, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, definitely a boomer, little RB room. At receiver, we have Nico Collins, Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel, Matthew Golden on top of that. Jordan Higgins is our wide receiver 5. Then we have Brian Robinson Jr., part of our Washington correlation, and Jordan Love now for the Green Bay, Baltimore stuff. So getting some Dallas week 17 correlation for Washington would be nice. Getting some more Green Bay pieces with Jordan Love, I think, is a must-have. We'll see what we get back. I'm going to drink this beer. I feel like this part of a draft on DraftKings, in particular when I'm picking the 12 hole, always when it starts to feel a little bit slow. Where it's like people laboring over picks that are not very fun, like Ramondre, ATN. I'll take them sometimes. Neither click makes me feel great. The Bo Nix slide ends at 25 spots after ADP. This guy got him correlated with nobody. Just took the free Bo Nix, which is totally fair. Again, I think I made the move that Mike Leone would yell at by taking Jordan Love here at pick 109. But I do not trust this room to let Jordan Love get back to me. JJ McCarthy going top 120. I think ETR has JJ McCarthy like top 110, so he might keep coming up. Crazy to see him ahead of Caleb Williams, though. Good for Team Skank in the one hole. Still going to have some value. Just too many picks. Just throw the football. Keep myself loose here. Oh, there we go. I'm okay with my team, though. I don't think it's as fun so far as the underdog team was that had a very similar baseline. But it's not bad. And it would naturally scream out for a Stroud stack, but I'm not sure I'm going to be grabbing Stroud. We shall see. Oh, take the whole clock. Take the whole clock. I only have to wait for 9 more picks. Why not? Hey, dog. Here's Kitty the dog while we wait. While we wait endlessly. Oh, you're so big. You're so big. She's really just a lazy piece of shit sometimes. I guess it's better than her being really high energy next to me while I try to do a stream, but she just immediately flop back down to the couch to lay around. Shiftless dog. Tucker Kraft goes, would have liked to have gotten him all the way back at 132. I think that would have made the room for tight end, and not having any tight end feel a lot better. But Tucker Kraft, people really love Tucker Kraft. What if he had the Q tag on him? Tucker. Yeah, no Q tag on him. If he had the Q tag on him, he would have fallen back to me, I think. Because DraftKings people would have panicked when they saw that. Stroud's coming all the way back to me. Basically begging me to take him. But Christian Kirk goes. I'm going to take Likely with one of these picks here. We do need RB more than QB, so I don't think it's going to be a Stroud spot for me. The Likely gives us more for the Baltimore-Green Bay correlation. And Jaden Blue gives us a bring back for Washington-Dallas. So we'll do that. Not the biggest Jaden Blue fan in the world, but I think in this kind of room where we have Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, and Brian Robinson above him, this is the kind of team that can absorb Jaden Blue, and the fact that there's a chance he might just be like a total dust back because the dustier backs got paid more money, going to be trusted more right away, even though it's really annoying, and sometimes that's how teams go. So Jaden Blue's the pick. Team right now, Jaden Daniels, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Nico Collins, Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel. At tight end, we got Isaiah Likely as our first tight end off the board. Probably a 3 tight end, if not a 4 tight end build here. Matthew Golden, Brian Robinson Jr., Jaden Higgins, Jordan Love, and Jaden Blue. And CJ Stroud went to, let's see. Stroud went here to I am the KY, who did just take Christian Kirk. So he did a little late, small Houston stack. Kirk might be very valuable on DraftKings. He could be a little PPR slut coming out of the slot there because they've been talking him up in that position a good amount. Jalen Noel is not going to bring that kind of same peppering a guy with targets opportunity. He's going to be more of a deep target guy, would be my guess, based on what he did in college. Did Blue get hurt yesterday? It fucking doesn't matter. He didn't tear his ACL, but like leaving OTAs early is not something I'm going to not take a guy for. Dog always looks at the door to go out, turns around, looks at the door to come back inside as soon as he gets. That's annoying. Yeah, Kitty, her big issue is that because she hasn't been really crate sharing yet, she wants to go out to go to the bathroom like fucking 10 times a day, and like she'll hold it for the most part. But then if you don't let her out, like she's gonna piss on the floor. And it's like it's not that she has to pee so desperately; it's that she's grown accustomed to a certain lifestyle, much like the old Nicole Simpson joke from Chris Rock. She's grown accustomed to the lifestyle, just being able to go outside whenever she wants. So it's like I have to let her out fucking 10 times a day. Or she has to be like cuddled because then she won't pee. So it's real. How to raise a needy dog 101. Let them out all the time. And then when they're not outside, just cuddle them. And then you're going to have that looking pretty much like my experience. Looking like a naked Lamar team. Yeah, we got our Baltimore stack. Yeah, we got Derrick Henry. We got Isaiah Likely. Didn't get Bateman. Didn't get Zay. And really, I like those two guys. Bateman got his extension. Second extension of his career. They just keep paying him a little bit more each time out. But Bateman, as I talked about yesterday on stream, he's now getting paid that wide receiver 2 legit money, or Darnell Mooney kind of money, or Josh Palmer, similar kind of money. So for Bateman, definitely helps him feel more needed than, I guess, if he had felt some issues with DeAndre Hopkins coming in. So many QBs here. The blood red here in this range always stands out. I got 2 picks before I come up here. Not a lot of natural correlation to aspire to. Let's see what I am the KY does here. And I think we need more at RB for sure. We want more at receiver. Gonna have to get more at tight end, but this is probably not the range to do it. I am the KY takes Dobbs, you piece of shit. Takes Dobbs for reasons unclear. Ertz already went, unfortunately. I think we're back on the Kyle Pitts train for this team. Thought we would get Zach Ertz back safely as one of the picks, but no such luck here. Don't love this pocket. Hollywood Brown, 10-pick discount. Ugh. Algier will have game scripts he hits. I'm going to take him. Maybe could have gone Quentin Johnston for the bring back for week 17. But I feel like we need RB more. So team so far, Jaden Daniels, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Nico Collins, Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel, Isaiah Likely, Matthew Golden, Brian Robinson Jr., Jaden Higgins, Jordan Love, Jaden Blue, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier. So we got some Atlanta mini stacking here for really no reason in particular. Maybe at this point should have just gone for more week 17 correlation and taken Quentin Johnston, and honestly going to take McMillan too as a sort of hedge point against Mike Evans. That might not have been my best two picks. I think that might have been a flawed process by me. Like that and not taking Bo Nix are two real sliding doors moments because I've not gotten to stack up Green Bay as much as I want. Like not getting Dobbs back, not getting Kraft back hurt me a good amount with how I'm trying to approach things. Still love how the team aligned here, unfortunately. Could be Tez Walker Day. I mean, it could be Hawkins Day. I think Hopkins will get some red zone targets. Been abusing each other from picks 10 to 12. I haven't seen you getting sniped, Robert Griffin III. Oh, I guess because you have Lamar. That's why. I could see why you were now upset about my unstacked Baltimore. Yeah, it's not great. Oh, well. So good news is DraftKings, so, you could still win. And really, no matter what site you're on, as long as you're still building teams that are mostly balanced well enough, have decent draft capital aligned, and good QB play, you'll probably have a shot. So, just think the team could have been cleaner. The good news, even as a friends and family draft, probably still would have gotten ruined by other people anyway, because that's drafting on any site in 2025. QJ goes, pick 169. There we go. We're having team, and not every team is going to be a banger. That's true. That's true. When you're putting in a lot of entries, sometimes it's got to look different. That's the hope. All right, we got one more draft coming up on Drafters. When this ends, really wish this would move faster on DraftKings. But I honestly think my brain just might be broken from 20-second clocks on Underdog. Like, those 20-second clocks, to me, fly by. Now being on a 30-second clock where the room is largely taking the entire 30 seconds, it just feels like I'm in fucking molasses. Like, I just want to make my click and go, here's why I'm making my click, and then boom, we're on the next draft. Now these guys are making up some speed here. Oh, we're having fun. I'm glad we're having fun. Alec Pierce goes, pick 175. Still like him, no matter who's at QB. Josh Palmer for Buffalo, like him as well. I think it's a nice pick here on DraftKings, much cheaper than you're getting on Underdog. About a 30-pick discount. Again, Palmer got paid money. Hopkins goes to our guy, Robert Griffin III here, stacking him up. What are we going to do? All right, Richardson here. Yeah, I love Palmer in this range. He's a great pick in this spot. I would take Palmer here. Let's pull up that chat. I mean, look, I think we got to make it up at receiver whenever I need to make it up at receiver, and we're here. This is usually where I go Keenan Allen, so I'm going to take that shot. Jalen Noel, another kind of deep target guy for Houston, can hit, but we didn't stack up Houston, so I'm not sure. Need to make that click. I do this sometimes. I'd be okay with it here. Taking Justice Hill with Derrick Henry, I don't think is a bad move because they're not going to hit in the same game scripts. So I'm actually going to do that. RB6, Justice Hill. If I lose in best ball this year, it's going to be because I've passed up Roshan Johnson every single time to take Justice Hill blindly. And Justice Hill could easily lose some work this year to Keaton Mitchell, but he was your backup last year. They declared him to be your primary backup. I'm not taking him for the handcuff reasons. I'm taking him because basically when Derrick Henry doesn't have a game script where he's going to hit, Justice Hill has a pretty good shot of being in the game script that does hit. Same thing for Isaiah Likely. So I think I've kind of covered the two primary Baltimore use cases where they're in the lead. Derrick Henry crushes. They're playing from behind. Henry goes off the field more. Sorry, we're still doing NBA. Off the field more, we get Justice Hill. Oh, did you want? You can still take Tez Walker, Robert Griffin III. Weird way to spell Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell was really not great last year. I know he's coming off the ACL. Justice Hill was good enough for me to take him. I think they'll script some things for Keaton as well. I think they'll script some things. And yes, you got Keaton Mitchell. You're good. You got Roshan Johnson. Again, really, this is one of my big fears. Like last year, I mentioned on stream, one of my biggest fears is that I would get a large portion of my player takes right and still not win all the money. That's what happened last year. I got a large portion of my player takes right, still didn't win all the money. Had a good year, like won 5 figures, but was not like, I thought it should have been a smash year with how I got some of that shit right. For this year, and I didn't really, my big thing was that like, I didn't want to get the player takes right and not win big. That's what happened. For this year, I feel like one of my biggest takes has been just taking Justice Hill every single time he's free. There are like a handful of guys I take every single time, basically, they come up, and it's Justice Hill right now. It's almost Braylon Allen. It's not always Braylon Allen, but it's not necessarily that. Tyjae Spears, I take every fucking time that he's there because I just think he's not priced appropriately. If you want to like make money off of my failure this year, those are probably the big three, I think, that come to mind a lot. Because whenever I'm making up an RB room, it's like, oh, sick, cool. I got Justice Hill here. Awesome. We're fine because we have Justice Hill. But in reality, you guys are right. Keaton Mitchell could absolutely take that job, and I shouldn't be locked in on Justice Hill as much as I am. I would do weird shit on Twitter in response when I'm well adjusted. Yeah, people on Twitter would be threatening to hang you from the gallows. Keaton was bad, but now he's back, according to him. Yeah, it's true. If you could ever trust any player, it's when they tell you that my injury's behind me and now I'm really good after being not so good last year. Let's see. Keaton Mitchell last year. Still had a 1 EPA per target, but barely got any targets. Negative 0.4 EPA per rush. That's a big fall off from where he was the year before last. Despite the injury, still a 20% avoided tackle rate. So you got that going for him. Justice Hill, our precious boy. Flat 0 EPA per rush, which is not bad. Again, like negative numbers, we can live with that volume. 0 for a guy who's getting middling volume is fine. 0.2 EPA per target, that's okay. 25% target per route run, 19.1% avoided tackle rate. And the big thing for Justice Hill that I think is why I hold him in some esteem, he got 0.4 red zone rushes a game, 0.5 red zone targets a game. So collectively got like 1 red zone opportunity a game. That's not bad for a guy who's free. Like, Marshawn Lloyd might beat that out this year. Jerome Ford might beat that out this year. Nobody else in this range, I feel. I mean, Samson, people like. I'm not sold on that. Really don't think there's another guy here. Roshan, for sure, will get you 1 red zone touch a game, I think. But not a lot of guys in this range that could get you 1 per game. So that's my Justice Hill bias spelled out as best I can. My take is don't take Will Shipley. A.J. Dillon could absolutely get the touches. We are so confident it's the little guy. I think A.J. Dillon's career is mostly over. Like, he couldn't play last year because of a neck injury. Now he's coming back in. Maybe he's full health, but I certainly wouldn't want to make a bet on that. We have a 2662 here. You look, no Cam Ward in this one. You know what? Let's get some Dallas correlation. We got Jalen Tolbert here. He will probably not spike at all with George Pickens there, but he is going to be functionally your wide receiver 3. Lockett still might be useful in PPR. Slayton, I don't mind normally, but I'll go Lockett here. I mostly take Lockett with Cam Ward, so I'll try a team without him. And their team so far is a 2682. Need to get a 3rd tight end for sure in this last pick, last couple picks. We got Jaden Daniels, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Nico Collins, Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel. Isaiah Likely, the tight end, is really the weak spot here. We got Matthew Golden, Brian Robinson Jr., Jaden Higgins, Jordan Love, Jaden Blue. Many new Jadens coming in. Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier, Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen could be the difference between the team making money or not this year. Because it is wide receiver 6. He could really pay off that position tenfold, or he could not play, I guess, to be the alternate outcome. And then the team's a little bit weaker. But Justice Hill, Jalen Tolbert, another Jalen, and Tyler Lockett, 2 spots left. I like the guys I picked. Certainly could have made other clicks that are cozy. Diami Brown just went. I like him late rounds. Darius Slayton, we talked about already. I do like him late rounds. Washington's really got nobody late I want to take. Jalen Lane, Luke McCaffrey. Ugh. Team Diami. Yeah, Diami getting some good talk in Jacksonville. And hard to forget that he is also the first signing they made when this team came in. Noah Brown for Washington. I just don't know that his opportunity is there. Like, he did okay when there wasn't a real wide receiver too. Now you have Debo there. I don't know what Noah Brown's real upside is. But he's on the team. He is on the team. We got 2 more picks left. Again, drafts coming up. So now, guys, would be the time. If you want to play with me on Drafters after this one, $20 entry fee, $500K to first place, and no pods on Drafters in the full PPR 20-round format. So to go deposit on Drafters right now, use the promo code SPLASH, drafters.com, or download the Drafters fantasy app. But check it out. We'll be playing on there next, and the other presenting sponsor of Splash Play this year. So show some love if you can. Check them out. Come gamble with me on stream because happy to have you guys on Drafters. Really, I don't care about the pods this year as much. Because I'm drafting enough off stream that I'll be fine. But for drafters in particular, we don't hurt each other by being in the same draft rooms because there aren't pods. So certainly the sniping, that's not great. But the other part of it, at least you're not hurting the team the entire year. That's the shitty part when you do draft on stream for Underdog or DraftKings is like, yeah, if you're on one of Pete's streams, you're drafting with a bunch of people that are going to be in your pod all year that are probably very smart best ball drafters for the most part. You kill your EV a little bit more than people realize. 10 of 12 right now. Should I just get in now so I don't have to wait? I'll do that. These drafts take too long to fill. So if I can get in now, I'm going to. And if I don't, then fuck me. I'm logging in. That's making me log in. All right, can we get in here? This would be nice. This would really shorten the draft window here. Joining draft. Oh, 9 spots left. Wait. 10 out of 12 available. Okay, so yes. 9 spots left on Drafters. You can easily draft with me on there right now. Let's make these last 2 picks for DraftKings. We took it to Atlanta, guys. Higbee for tight end 3. I can live with that. So Higbee, come on down. I'm going to take a 4th tight end. If there's anybody useful at all here. Cole Kmet's got a world where he can still hit. He's being paid big money. We go Cole Kmet. All right, final 2 picks. 4 tight end build, 8 receivers, 6 RBs. And again, we got right now 3 spots left on Drafters, so get in there if you want. That's going to be the next thing we do. Final team, Jaden Daniels, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara. At receiver, Nico Collins, Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel. Our lone Washington stack partner as a pass catcher. Tight end, Isaiah Likely, part of a 4 tight end build because he is not a good tight end 1. We got Matthew Golden rounding out the top of the receiver room. Brian Robinson, Jaden Higgins, Jordan Love, Jaden Blue, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier, Keenan Allen trying to bail me out at receiver a little bit. Justice Hill, Jalen Tolbert, Tyler Lockett, Tyler Higbee. This is so many Jadens and so many Tylers. It's really odd that developed that way. And Cole Kmet. Not a normal team for me for sure. I don't think I've taken Jalen Tolbert once this entire offseason. But Lockett, Higbee, I do take late. Justice Hill, I take late. We defended him more than enough here. There are parts of the team I like. I like the underdog team. I did better. I'd have to say that. Drafters draft just filled. So next stage in our journey here, the final part of things. Full point PPR. Mr. Mufasa, new sign up here in the 1 hole. A lot of familiar names. Chunk the Deuce, Gabe Davis. OMG's our guy Nolan. I don't know these other names, but if you're in here, I think Ale Season is in the chat as well. So we'll see what these guys do next. But again, guys, last stage of our 3-leg. I don't know. What do you call like a 3-part race? There's like the I'm just gonna Google it. Name for a 3-part race. Trifecta? That's for horse racing. Triathlon. God, I'm a fucking R word. This it's our triathlon. Yes. Trifecta was in my brain, but I'm like, that's not it. It's triathlon. Yes, triathlon. Meatwad wins. Fly Meatwad wins. Yes, our triathlon here of best ball drafts will be completed with this one. And in total, we've submitted entries for $4.5 million. That's what we do every Friday here on the Splash Play channel. And soon, probably more, whenever I feel like spending $60 to do streams every day. But it's coming up. Triathlon, try draftalon, truckathon. All things that work. Third man in our Lucky Pierre. What is a Lucky Pierre? I forget that as well. Slang term for, okay, well, I spelled it incorrectly as well. Slang term for a man in a threesome who both penetrates and is penetrated, as well as an alternate name for Arab Straps Aiden Moffat. Who's Aiden Moffat, and how unfortunate is he to be nicknamed Lucky Pierre? What did he, well, I was going to say, like, what did he do to get nicknamed Lucky Pierre? I think it's pretty obvious what he would have been nicknamed as to be nicknamed Lucky Pierre. Your triathlon is definitely better than Lucky Pierre. Unbelievable. I knew that somewhere in the back of my head, but that's one that definitely escaped me. One that does not escape my brain is the strawberry cheesecake in terms of the Urban Dictionary one, where it's like, I think it's where you ejaculate on somebody's face and then break their nose. It's like, that one's so gruesome. How could you forget that, you know? Lucky Pierre, though, I can forget. Pause, what Spags up here? I haven't even finished the beer yet, so no, this is just my normal. This is me filling 2 hours of drafts. Is unfortunately, I think, what you're getting. Yeah, Blue Waffle's the worst because that's like a Google image thing, which is gross. We're not going to do that on stream. I don't need to get demonetized for that. We got Jahmyr Gibbs here, Malik Nabers here. I like Nabers. I'll take Gibbs here. Really not anything too sexy we're doing early on. But Gibbs has lived up to the hype. Really, the big thing for him is that you still have Montgomery certainly taking some red zone work away as he did last year. The less after he got hurt, for whatever that's worth. Gibbs, 0.13 EPA per rush, 0.13 EPA per pass. Symmetrical. Kind of like to see that. 21.3% avoided tackle rate. That is in the good spot here. Guys who can actually create value with avoided tackles. 3.2 red zone rushes a game, 0.8 red zone targets a game. So he's in that 4 red zone opportunities a game threshold we like for our elite backs. Gibbs fits all the criteria. So we'll do that. Peer to the strawberry shortcake is the angry dragon. Is that like when you step on somebody's foot or something? You feel like that's the bit for that? A sexual act where one person orgasms in another person's ass so hard that it comes out of their nose. Thank you, Robert Griffin III. We've all learned something. Look, we can learn things about best ball. There's a million streams out there where you can hear people talk about the same shit about best ball. Here, you'll learn what a Lucky Pierre is. Can you Lucky Pierre into an angry dragon? You can. You know, it sounds like we're doing Tony Hawk combos. I love doing my kick flick McTwist into an angry dragon into a Lucky Pierre. I guess you have to flip the order of that. Angry Dragon's the winner. Well, Blumpkin is just what? That's when somebody blows you on a toilet, I believe. I do not want to get blown on a toilet, for the record. I'll go on the record and say I do not need to get blown on a toilet while I'm taking a shit. I think it's not the time for that. The team needs Lad. No, the team needed your also Georgia guy, Brock Bowers, just as good. That's Tony Hawk. They remastered those games, right? Honestly, I'd play some Tony Hawk. I could see doing that. I loved Tony Hawk when I was a kid. Obviously, the playlist was full of bangers. That and like MLB, whatever the EA MLB game was, because the show didn't exist yet. And some of those Madden games, like those are the best playlists. Wow, Adam, Bowers is so much better than Lad. Okay, I hope Lad doesn't see that one. and we all know Lad McConkey loves a good best ball draft. The remaster was sick. Is it free on like Game Pass or something? I feel like I would play it in that. I probably wouldn't pay for it at this point. My video game haul is filled up. Legendary track list, just a fun, challenging game. Yeah, I love and also like just doing things. Like one of my favorite things about video games is like being able to do shit that I can't do in real life. So obviously like basketball, I can play basketball, but when I play a basketball game, it's like I usually want to be like a big man who's just blocking out the rim, like go aggressively after chase down blocks and shit like that. Not just blocking. I like guys that can shoot that are big men too. But it's like I'll never be a 7'1" guy. So when I play NBA 2K, I kind of want to be a 7'1" guy. For Tony Hawk, I can't do shit. Like you can put me on a skateboard. I don't think I could roll. I could probably roll at this age. But I don't think I could jump. I don't think I could do like any sort of thing. So being able to do like a fucking 900 turn shit, great. Love that. GTA 6, please be good. I hope so. It's hard for that not to be, though. They've got that down to a science. I would put I'd put my life on the line for them not putting out a shitty game, if nothing else. We got Terry McLaurin here. We could set up our Washington stack and see if Jaden comes back. So far, all the elite QBs are available. So, all right. Terry McLaurin, wide receiver 1. He's holding out right now. ADP coming down a little bit on drafters at the very least. Not so much on DraftKings. That's right. We look for people to do tricks on it. But in particular, kick flick McTwists, which is harder to say than it should be. 3 and 4 remasters out on Game Pass are coming out this month. Okay, I might check that out then. I appreciate the feedback. I have thought before. I've never done it seriously. I did do a brief period where I streamed on Twitch. I've really thought about just adding Twitch to my repertoire because, like, at this point, for me, the more stream hours I do, it's how I have to make more money. I can't will myself to put more content out there than I feel like people actually care about. But Twitch, it's like I can keep it lo-fi and I just hang out in the living room. The issue is I have to set up another recording setup for myself, and I don't want to do that. But I've thought about it. I thought about it in particular last year, a couple of years ago with Madden, where I was like, maybe I can just do Madden streaming too on the side. But I don't know. I don't think enough of you guys care. Right? People barely care about my best ball drafting, and I'm good at this. So maybe I shouldn't try to do video game drafting as well. Or video game playing as well. We'll play the 1 and 2 remaster. Didn't know 3 and 4 was out. Okay. I'll look into it. Creative player on MLB when I was younger. Turned out I designed Aaron Judge. My player right now in MLB is live to hit 400. We're at the end of the year. Actually, no, I think I'm actually in the playoffs now because my player got hurt at the end of the season. So tied Barry Bonds' home run record, hit 400. And this is on like the second highest level of difficulty, I think. I'm good at MLB The Show. I don't do the PCI though. Like I don't do the moving the thing. I just do stick because I just don't find it interesting to do the moving the thing and swinging. So that's gonna be my downgrade. But my MLB The Show player is like a Hall of Famer. Like he's one of the best who's ever done it. MVP in his 3rd year in the league. But MLB, they fuck you because you're on salary control for so fucking long. We got Ted McMillan here, Devontae Smith, Jameson Williams. JMO would correlate a little bit, but Ted McMillan, I think, gives us the upside we need a bit more. So I'm going to go Ted McMillan here. I like JMO. Again, JMO, as we've discussed on stream, the most camp hype, it feels like, out of any football player in the world from his coaching staff. I think JMO is going to come up to the 40s at some point, but I think Ted McMillan's also going to come up a little bit more. These two guys, though, both great clicks. JMO goes to pick after. My pick here, I think JMO's a good pick that I would have been happy to take as well. Feel obligated to take at least 8% lad, but I don't have it. I don't love it. Wow, that's tough. You call him Tits McMillan. I don't know if he's a tits guy. I mean, what is he's like? He's Hawaiian. Is that it? Ted McMillan. It's funny. All the Google terms are like Ted McMillan 40 time, Ted McMillan dash time. I'm looking up Ted McMillan ethnicity. He's Polynesian. WWE would put him in the bloodline stable, I think. But I feel like a Polynesian guy, probably not a tit guy. For being, and I'm not trying to offend any of the Polynesians in our audience. But, I feel like if you're a Polynesian guy, you're probably more of a thigh, probably more of an ass guy. probably more of a coconut bra. Sorry. Probably more of a grass skirt guy as well, which I am too. To be totally honest, my wife came home and there was one time that Alex wore lingerie around the house, was just like, because we were in a dry period, and she was just like sauntering around, and I'm like, what do you think this is gonna do? But if she dressed up in a fucking coconut bra and grass skirt, I'd be like, all right, I can do this. Anyway, we're gonna take O'Marion Hampton here because he's a value. Now that I've outed more personal things that you probably don't need to know. Oh, his lady has, where's the link? Please give me the name. I guess if you can't drop the link in chat, give me the name. You got to look it up here. Shout out Kendrick, always my hype man. Spags the GOAT, best content creator in the space. We appreciate your views, Spags, and standing by him. Thank you. Not my video views, my actual takes. I do stand by him, and I come by them, I think, as intelligently as anybody out there. Now that Pat Kerrane just like fucking hypes up guys that aren't even analytically sharp, I think I was going to take. I say I'm throwing. That's loving shit. I love Pat. Pat's one of the best guys in the space. That said, if we're digging our heels in on Drake May for year 2, I think we're now past the point of just trusting the data. So I don't know. Like I feel like my player takes as good as anybody's, but we'll see. was between Tet and Moore. Who do you think has a better chance out of those two to be a wide receiver one? That's a good question. I don't know the way the wind's blowing for Moore, to be honest. I take DJ Moore a lot because the Ben Johnson part of it's there, but he's talking down his own role. He also got scolded by the coach for the sulking last year. Apparently the first thing Ben Johnson talked to him about was like that he didn't want him to be throwing little bitch fits on the sidelines. It was like, don't show them, don't put it on tape, don't put it on TV. And that's his underdog update right now. It'll be DJ Moore for the news items. So that makes me not feel great about DJ Moore. Whereas Ted McMillan, he's coming into an offense where like he was a monster targeter in Arizona. He also was really good after the catch at Arizona. And now he's going into Bryce Young's situation where I think Bryce, to me, now the back half of the season showed that he's a good enough player. First half, I thought he was going to take a leap and he did not. But I think I would still go Tet. I certainly see though why people would be apprehensive about making that big of an investment in Carolina's offense. We need to get more at receiver in. Rome Odunze is going to be the click. Joe Burrow, obviously fine at this spot if I had anything Cincinnati, but I don't. Alvin Kamara, also fine, but we've made a Gibbs Hampton bet here. Don't think we need another RB. So McLaurin, McMillan, and Odunze as our picks. You'd think I have two Irish guys, but you'd be wrong. You'd be wrong. Heard a decent argument that Ben Johnson made us be overhyped, overrated. No, don't think so. I don't think so. Neil Orfield here. Neil doing some late night streams I saw with lots of guests. Neil, much like I am, trying his best to stay afloat, competing for best ball views, which is relatable for me and probably not for you guys out there. But show some love for Neil if you can. Go check out his channels. Do appreciate that, sweet boy. That hat hasn't aged a day. Thank you. That's the hat hasn't. The man under the hat certainly dying before our eyes. Panthers draft night stuff is cool for Tet. Yeah, look, I think Tet's got good vibes there. Again, and he's also one of those guys too, right away with the first team, being the dominant X receiver, being out there taking all those routes. It's what you want to see for a guy like Odunze. Or a guy like Tet McMillan, excuse me. It's what you want to see for Odunze too, to be honest. But if I had to guess, I think that Tet McMillan right away comes into a role at the very least comparable to Marvin Harrison, but with more reliable targets. I think that's how I would view him. I think DJ Moore, there's a world where he gets lapped by Odunze. Like Odunze's had real nice camp hype. He's also, in my opinion, a more polished, prototypical receiver. He's a better athlete than DJ Moore at this stage as well. I think Odunze could end up being the wide receiver one for his team. I don't think there's any world where McMillan's not the wide receiver one for Carolina. But that's my guess. Shout out to you, casually talking dry spell in this hyper bro space. I'm sure your wife loves that level of honesty. Well, she doesn't watch anymore, and she's also out of town, so I can get away with it today. There's ebbs and flows and everything in life. Again, my YouTube views included. That's the way it all fucking goes. I try to view things that way. You show up and do the work as much as you can, obviously, in between, whether that is your sexual dry spells or what. Okay, so Laporta makes no sense for the team because he's also a week 8 bye. He's the best pick on the board in this range, though. I hate receiver here. I'm going to go DeAndre Swift. If Laporta were a week 9, 10, 11, 12 bye, I would have taken him with Bowers, soaked up that value, been okay with it. But just not there for another tight end. And that was a pretty good value, though. ADS here. I don't think he's in the room. He might just be a regular drafters guy. Got nice value on Laporta. So good for him. Good for him. All right, first can of beer done, finally. It's going to be an hour and a half. We're now on to the Highlight IPA, because I did bring in 2 here just in case. Figuring this draft would go, or these drafts rather, would go long. I don't love the Highlight, to be honest. I like the graphic design on the can. Here, I'll go full screen for a second here. Like the graphic design on the can more than I do the actual IPA. But it's still an 8% beer, so we can do that. Fuck that guy. He did steal Jaden Daniels too. He did. I didn't tilt over it because I was fine to take McMillan, but I did take McLaurin in the hopes of getting Jaden Daniels back, and I didn't get it. But I feel like ADS might be in the splash play, at least in the chat. He's probably one of those guys that watches and doesn't actually like me. He just watches because he wants to try to take theoretical EV from me. Who knows? But I appreciate you defending me, Chunk. You should defend me in these rooms. Jump and do the work. Amen, brother. That's all you can ever do in life. The hardest part for most people who are content people, as I'm sure the Typhel Tower guys and anybody else out there can do, and they do it as well as anybody, to be honest, with how much they're doing actual streams. Neil, same thing too. It's just like showing up every day and doing it. Like that's like the hardest part of everything. Darnell Mooney goes, I feel like ADS has to be in the fucking chat. It's taking all guys I love that would have made sense for my team. And he takes Darnell Mooney here. Cooper Kupp, I'm okay with. I think we're at the tier break spot for sure with Mooney. Ayuk, I have a hard time taking. I'm going to go Cooper Kupp. The Cooper Kupp is more viable than people realize. I know some of the projection sites out there, I think ETR in particular is really down on him. I am still a Cooper Kupp believer. I would say that. Drinking an 8% beer at 3:30. Did the wife take Luca with her? Yes, that's correct. That's it, Neil. I mean, I would do that anyway on a Friday stream because, like, I have the tolerance of a bull. I think like Neil does as well. But yeah, the wife's out of town, so yesterday I was ripping joints and drinking beer. Stream today. Today just beers. But yes, Neil knows me too well. Oh, Adam, other Adam, your ADS. ADS is death by 1,000 cuts with your picks lately. But building a nice team for himself is ADS here, our guy Adam. But he got himself Jaden Daniels, got Laporta, got Mooney, who really would have loved to have him over Kupp. Fucking 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10 even. That was it. I think it makes more sense on Underdog than Drafters, I feel like. PPR. Like he should be a good PPR player theoretically. But I've been very much not showing up every day doing it. Sadly, it's burnt out post NFL. Oh, hey, well, welcome to the club, Neil. That's a lot of the guys who are doing daily drafts this year. And again, no shade, just haven't been through the process before. It does take it out of you. I like, for me, a lot of this year and a lot of the, frankly, last month or so, and hopefully you guys can tell on stream, a lot of this has been me trying to find my joy with drafting again, because like I think it does start to take a mental toll doing the same thing and starting to cycle again immediately when the last cycle ended. And then pairing that with the Twitter weirdos I had to deal with. I just like, I don't, it was hard for me to get going, but if your love of drafting proceeds, and stays with you throughout it all, hopefully you'll get there for most of you guys, whether you are a creator like Neil and I, or just yourself and you're in a rut with drafts. But it happens every year. Like people always like people don't grasp that sometimes. We got Jordan Mason here, Jalen Warren, Brock Purdy. Nothing here I'm like dying for. We got the Chicago bet. I'm just going to grab a first QB, go Caleb Williams here, excuse me. So Caleb Williams, our first QB off the board with Jahmyr Gibbs, Omarion Hampton, DeAndre Swift. Hampton, I love talent-wise. I just I don't feel as cozy as I should with him being an RB being taken in the top 50-ish picks. But he's there. We got 4 receivers with Terry McLaurin, Tet McMillan, Romo Dunze, Cooper Kupp. I think for skipping receiver for the first 2 rounds, I'm okay with that room. And Brock Bowers, our elite tight end. I think the team could be better. I think if our guy Adam in the chat had maybe less grabby hands for the for the good players, would have been a little bit better. But I think Adam's team right now next to me, ADS 827, I think his team absorbed a lot of the players that would have made my team pop, in my opinion. As it is right now, I think the team's okay. More so, Ayuk going to miss half the year. So I don't think he's going to be missing half the year. If I swear to God, if Stephon Diggs starts week 1 and if Rashee Rice starts week 1 and Brandon Ayuk is on the PUP list and doesn't play half the year, I'm going to be really upset about that. Because like the Ayuk and Diggs injuries were roughly the same time period. And granted, Ayuk, I don't think has shown the biggest desire to work really hard so far. Not saying that, in any sort of whatever, I don't know him as a guy. That's the vibes that I get. I'd be really annoyed if Diggs gets out there before he does. We got Luther Burden here again. I think because we are low at receiver and he's stacked up with Chicago, we should do it. So Luther Burden here, our Chicago double stack, our fading DJ Moore double stack. With which, how much I take DJ Moore, I think it's logical to do some of the double stack without him. Ayuk is soft, agreed. Plus this was ACL to MCL. Also fair. Oh, God. Ayuk's so talented, man. Like, even when shit ran bad for him last year, the fantasy points data still had him as like a top separation guy. Like he still had good merits for him, even though the numbers overall were not super impressive. You 0.17 EPA per target, not where you want him to be. 22.3% target per run, definitely not where you want him to be. 0.7 red zone targets a game, lower than a guy of his pedigree should be getting. given that's dead even with Demarcus Robinson. I think he's more talented. I think that Brandon Ayuk, like as a receiver, I think he's one of the most talented receivers in the league in terms of like what receivers value. Because like you could hear guys like Debo talked about him really favorably. Other receivers in the league, Jaden's talked about him favorably at QB, though he doesn't know him on a friend level from their LSU time, I guess, or the shared LSU connection. No, it was at Arizona State, whatever it was. Point being for Ayuk, like he's got a lot of things going for him. They just haven't come together for him to be a fantasy monster, which I think it's tough. He's kind of like T. Higgins if T. Higgins were never like spiking in a meaningful way. Because Ayuk's like spike days, I feel like are like 20-point days. But he should be better than that. I don't know. With Juwan Jennings playing as well as he did last year, it might be hard for Ayuk to ever get to what his true ceiling is. It's like Purdy relied on him. Purdy used him effectively. And we got 2 picks of 4 hours here. Colston Loveland goes, so you won't get him as part of our Chicago stack. Not that he was necessarily an option I was targeting, but could have been logical. Christian Kirk here to make the wide receiver room better. Would not be crazy. QB, we don't have to do yet. Ugh. It's like Jaden Blue and nothing else at RB for a while. I'm going to take Christian Kirk here to solidify the receiver room a little bit more because we didn't go early first 2 rounds. We didn't have a receiver. I think for Kirk, he's not stacked up with anything, but I do think he'll be a better play on PPR sites because I don't expect him to have a ton of touchdown equity. But I think here's a possibility that he racks the PPR targets. That said, I took Kirk with that same thesis last year and he was terrible. So that's the Christian Kirk experience for you. High on Steph Diggs after seeing that innovative treatment he was doing on that yacht. Pink is always medicine. I do remember that when I used to get like bronchitis a lot as a kid, it was the pink bubblegum medicine I used to get all the time for that. So yeah, that checks out. That checks out. He's going to be super healthy now. And we doing today, Spags? Doing great, Mac. I appreciate you showing up. Appreciate all you guys hanging out. And show some love if you can, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. Again, we've been here for about an hour and 40 minutes, but we're going to see this draft through. Probably the last draft of the day. There's going to be a period where I start going a little bit longer on drafts because I just need to get some more volume up in general and on stream. So stay tuned for that. But I like keeping these 3 draft videos clean. So we'll see. We'll see. I do appreciate all you guys hanging out. Subscribe, hit the like button. You guys know the deal. Check out the Discord as well if you want to get in there. Always great to talk with people in our community. A lot of guys thinking about football, a bunch of different ways. But also, like, I'm happy to answer your questions about there, whether it's looking up data, giving my take on stuff. I appreciate people ask me about stuff, and they can make their own opinion from there. But join the Discord. We've got a lot of great guys on there. Love to have it be, frankly, even all of you guys that are just paying members. Like right now, there's about like 40 to 50 people that are paying members that are not in the Discord. Just get on there if you're paying for it already. But if you're not paying for it, I think our Discord's great. And you get my rankings too if you want, even though we don't know if people paying for them. So I've not been updating as diligently as I probably should. But I can if people actually pay for it. We got CJ Stroud here. Is this a 3 QB build? I think it could be. We need to get more RBs in, though, because I don't feel great about Hampton up top. But RB is just ugly at this point. Ugh. I'm going to go Garendo if I got it in. There we go. Garendo at RB. We get some leverage on McCaffrey owners. I also think there's a pretty good shot that he gets work alongside McCaffrey because even though McCaffrey might be full health, even though McCaffrey might be full go, and he might get used better by Clay Kubiak, he's ever been used. Still think you don't want to trot him out there for as much volume as you've gotten before. They showed they didn't want to last year. This red zone work literally falling off by about 3 intended touches a game. So I think Garendo, to me, I think he's got utility in that offense no matter what. And certainly if McCaffrey gets hurt, I think it's going to be wheels up for him. I don't think Jordan James beats him out. Treat out logging in Discord. Yeah, the link is in the YouTube if you are a paying member and you're not in there yet. But get in, really, especially guys like TX Politics. Like, he's been a good guy here in the community for a while. Just make sure you're coming in because we have a lot of good dudes in the community. And, like, really, you know, Pete's done well, I think, having a 4,000-person Discord that's got still most of the community there are people you like and you want to talk to. But my goal is to try to keep it, you know, I mean, I'm not going to get to a 4,000-person Discord no matter what. But I really don't want it to be like a place where just people yelling at each other and being assholes to other people. Like, so, you know, I think it's a good community we're going to build, and that's my goal with it, even if it is just like ends up being a 100-person max. So join if you can. Love to try draft a lot. Good to see the difference in each site. Yeah, even when I draft the exact same team, DraftKings and Underdog. It does naturally get a little bit different along the way for sure. Sure guy Justin hanging out here. Glad to see him as well. And I do know ball. That's true. That's why. Well, how else can I be holding a football right now? How else can I be throwing it in the air, catching it? Ooh. Can we one-hand it? Yeah, we can one-hand it. Me and Tet McMillan. Me and Thighs McMillan. Just two boys love to catch the football. All right, we need the second QB. All right. Nothing important on text. We got Tucker Kraft here if we want to get more at tight end. I think for me at this point, Bryce already went. Yeah, Bryce went here. Unfortunately, that fucks me up a little here. Oh, I hate this. I hate this. I'm going to go Geno here. I just don't trust him to get around the bend. These guys might have enough at QB, but the QB run is starting. This guy taking Bryce Young unstacked. The room, one of my beliefs in best ball is that when QB starts to go, the entire room panics and starts grabbing QB. This guy taking QB unstacked means he was starting to panic. So I want to try to get ahead of that more in rooms. So Geno at least stacks up with Brock Bowers. You run the risk if I don't take QB here, I just end up with no QBs, or no QB2 rather. I hate this as a part of best ball, to be totally honest, because like I think people should have more diamond hands with it. But no matter how hard I try to have diamond hands and go like, yeah, I'll push QB around, the rooms never, for the most part, allow that to happen. I could have gotten more micro with it and looked at all the guys in the turn, especially given that Chunk and Gabe Davis are regulars here, and I guess Adam is too here. Adam sniped the shit out of me in the draft, so I don't think I could trust him. I could have looked more to see how many QBs they have, but I just don't trust getting this QB2 back. So definitely an adjustment for me because I do love to push QB when I can. But when you get sniped on Bryce Young, it's sort of it. Wish that dude didn't take Bryce Young. Bryce, though, one of my favorite clicks in a draft. So if you're fading me, don't take Bryce Young. Very cozy QB2 for me because he's not going to lose his job. He played well enough. He runs a little bit as well. Bryce's season-long numbers last year were not great, so I don't know that I'm going to want to extol them too much here. Bryce Young, 75% catchable ball rate, so we're talking Daniel Jones rage. 67% on target rate, same thing. 3.7 deep shots a game he was okay on. Oh, 2.4 rushes a game. Thought he ran more. Okay. I'm going to go... RB is just fucking dead. I'm going to go Thielen here. At least make the receiver room better. There is really nothing I wanted RB coming up for 20 picks. Oof. This RB room is not my fave. Gibbs is going to have to carry a lot of water, which he should. But I think I didn't time pockets out well today. I think going Gibbs, Hampton, like we talked about before, there are some spots here in particular, the 2, 3, 4, 5 hole. If you go 2 RBs early, you can dig out. Going Gibbs and Bowers here, I don't like the wide receiver room enough. Getting Hampton in here, I think, kept me from getting a receiver room that felt really good. And because Hampton is so high priced, like I just don't feel cozy with him. I think he's more of a Caleb Johnson, Quinshon Judkins kind of play where like these guys have talent. I think Hampton has the most talent out of those 3, but like he's not guaranteed a role with Najee Harris there. So the RB room doesn't feel good enough. The wide receiver room doesn't feel good enough as a result. QB got sniped on a little bit. The team just doesn't have the flow I would hope for, to be honest. That's okay. It's going to happen in some drafts we do. I think I put up legit like 5 straight really good drafts in a row. This one is fine. It's not, definitely not singing to me. But, oh well. We got a pick coming up here. Gonna add some more on it, RB. My instinct would be to go Justice Hill, but I'll deviate a little bit here and go Jalen Wright. Love Justice Hill in general, as we talked about enough on the previous couple drafts. But sometimes you got to deviate here. Jalen Wright, a little bit after ADP, will take that shot. Really think he's your handcuff for Devon Achane in terms of providing something different. I think you're going to get something different out of Ollie Gordon more than you would Jalen Wright. But contingent value is still a thing in best ball. So if Achane goes down, Jalen Wright could be a league winner next year. So you got to take him sometimes. Sure, guy Jack joining here, joining super late today. Wife's out of town this weekend. Bourbon and watching this from the jump tonight. Jack in the same boat with me. Look, when the wife's out of town, when the kid's out of town as well, you can just do whatever. You know, somebody here to judge you. I'll be ordering probably some DoorDash later on. I'll take Kitty for a walk after the stream and just be getting hammered playing various video games. I don't know. There's no basketball on tonight, so I got nothing to do on that front. I am on MLB Live Before Lock tomorrow too. Took a show because I guess somebody was out. So if you want to play MLB with me tomorrow, I will be doing that on stream at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you want to gamble with me, I'll put some MLB lineups in because nothing else to do. More Enlightened Man might go, wow, tonight be a great time. Today be a great weekend to like go catch up with friends or something. And no, I just go, fuck, I could sleep in and just fucking hang out and smoke weed and drink and do some gambling. We all make our choices accordingly. Not for me, Adam. Stanley Cup finals are not on my radar at all. Love to hear the MLB news. Yeah, I'm kind of in no man's land with MLB this year where like I really don't get enough slates in during a week because NBA is still going on enough. And I don't play slates whenever I do stochastic, but if I'm not doing stochastic streams, I don't really prepare for MLB. So we'll see. I might do it on the channel, on the Splash Play Bets channel when the NBA season ends. But I got to do more best ball drafts too, so it's going to be a little bit of a figuring it out on the fly kind of thing. Yeah, I know people love playoff hockey. It's just not my thing. Not my thing. I'll probably put SmackDown on tonight in the background. Play video games. I hope everybody watching hockey has a great time. Hunter Henry is here. We do need a second tight end at some point. And at this point, it's not going to be anybody who correlates too well. Do you like RB, though, and going there again and being, I think, hopefully done with it? Didn't take Justice Hill. We'll take another old fave, Marshawn Lloyd. So RB6, Marshawn Lloyd here. No correlation. Doesn't really matter, but we just don't really desperately need wide receiver, QB, or tight end at this point. So Brock Bowers, you got a stack partner. Caleb Williams, you got a stack partner. Cooper Kupp, not so much for you. Stars are out. Fuck hockey. Just fired our coach too. Chunk is really loyal to his Dallas teams. I'll give him that. But it's not the case though more in the current generations where like people just follow the players. Like how many LeBron fans are there that have just moved from team to team over the course of a decade or so? Whereas me, I just root for the money. And I do end up realizing I did become a Commanders fan last year. I don't know if I'm going to have enough Jaden this year to feel as invested in the Commanders' success. But I do want them to beat Philly, so that's the trade-off. But if I right now I've got Jaden, I think 8% in BBM. I don't think it's much higher on DraftKings if it is at all. Just not sure that I'll be able to get to Jaden as much this year, which sucks. I'd have to really prioritize it, which I could see myself doing on the home stretch. It's just like elite QB, I just don't like doing. I get it safer, get it projects better. I'd much rather gamble my fate with 3 late QBs and hope it turns out okay. I am turning into a Cam Ward fan. I turn into whoever's cheap enough that's got the upside is really what happens every year, unfortunately. Why not just a short with top stack, top leverage, and splash play pitcher, free looks? Because short videos, I don't know. I don't get much joy out of it, and I don't think it actually covers the slate in the way you're supposed to. Like, if you want to see what I think, I wouldn't say perfect content is. My ideal view of DFS content is what I do on the Splash Play NBA videos daily, where it's like, we're talking about the projections, what my data has. We then talk about how the projections work and how the concept of like, if this guy fails, this guy probably succeeds. Like that to me is what DFS content should be. It's just not, it's not like casual stuff. The casual stuff is giving out picks every day, but like then you give out the picks and they're just fucking chalk. And I hate that too. And we did get Sam Darnold all the way back, so I'm going to take him here. Sam Darnold, QB3, does have the same bye week as Geno Smith. Doesn't really matter that much. But we have the Seattle bet here with Cooper Kupp. Might take a Seattle tight end late. So I think for Sam Darnold, he makes sense here on drafters to go to 3 QBs. And frankly, on most sites, Caleb Williams, Geno Smith QB room, I think adding a third QB on probably is the wise move. Projection-wise, just can't imagine those guys are going to be top projected QBs week to week. Pitts or Hunter Henry straight up. Pitts for me, because I think Penix unlocks a different level of play, potentially for the offense. For Henry, I'm just not sold. They have too many receivers. Too many receivers and a new offense coming in. And frankly, the Tennessee offense has never used tight end that well. They're the historical Vrabel offense. And also, frankly, Josh McDaniels' offenses haven't for a while, even though obviously when they had Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, things were a little bit different there. So do we have to say rest in peace for Aaron Hernandez? Shout out Aaron Hernandez. But yeah, I don't know. I think that for me, Hunter Henry is an okay click too. But I prefer Pitts because I think Pitts is a level of upside. We just haven't really seen him hit yet. You can follow your heart though. I don't think they're that far off. We got Caleb Williams, Geno, Sam Darnold here. I mean, Wicks, I think a receiver is the best click. I mean, it's simple as that. You really don't get many guys, and it's one of those things that is hard to compartmentalize this year because you do have Green Bay overhauling their receiver core, bringing some more guys in for sure. But for Wicks, you just don't often get a player who had a 30% target per out run rate with a decent sample size in round 18, round 19, round 20. I feel that way on every site you're playing on. Like, I still will take shots on Wicks because there just aren't many players in a given year who average as many targets per out run as he did. You know what? That's actually a decent thought exercise. Let me sort by target per out run. Header. Here we go. I think I can make the case better this way. Target per route. Okay. Oh, that break my sheet. Oh, it did break my data sheet. Hold on. Let me save this. Close it out. I have so much data in my NFL Excel that now when I do random sorts, it will crash Excel for me, which is not great. Wish I could figure out why that would be. But it basically becomes like a white screen. I don't know why that is. But target per out run, guys. So let's go to Wicks. So Wicks, 30.2%. Guys who were ahead of him. Drake London, 31.2. Malik Nabers, 32 flat. Marshawn Lloyd at 33. The obviously small sample size there. Rashee Rice, 35.4% target per out run. That's fucking crazy. Puka Nacua at 39. Marquise Brown, who didn't play enough, 44% target per out run for him. Guys who are lower than Wicks, Josh Downs a little bit behind him at 30.1%. CeeDee Lamb at 30 flat. Cooper Kupp at 29.9. Point being is like Wicks commanded a shitload of targets, like in a way that I know all the people who like drafted him way too high in best ball last year are disappointed. That doesn't just go away. So I think for Wicks, he's too cheap for a guy that just showed a level of upside that you just don't see hit very often. This is the last draft, Spencer. Sorry, I wish you could join me, but usually to me 2 hours and change when I get these 3 drafts done. I don't have a whole lot more to say usually. I do appreciate all you guys who are watching live and getting you to hop in drafts with me on stream. I do ping the Discord as well if you want to get in there. Literally today when I hop into the Underdog draft, mentioned how many spots I had. So if you want to get in rooms with me more, join the Discord. You'll be able to see that in my new streams channel whenever I go live. Arroyo came back, thank God, so we can get one more tight end in here. We do have just a Brock Bowers, Elijah Arroyo room here, which is not great. So we're going to have to add on a third tight end as well. And tight end is mostly dead here. Yikesies. Understand that baseball variance is nuts. Love the process of build, bets, and sims, so I get that. I appreciate that. I mean, that's my content flow, so I appreciate you saying you like it. Wicks' target per out run is so high, but everyone had the same amount of targets. True. I don't really know what the rebuttal would be. Besides the fact that like Watson not being in still vacates a good amount of routes. Golden is a guy that should immediately absorb most of the Watson routes, in particular the deep ones. I just don't think he's a good enough player to earn targets like Wicks has. I think that shows itself throughout practice or throughout the entire summer. So that's how I feel about it, but obviously people are entitled to feel differently. All right, we need a third tight end who's like kind of projectable. Noah Fant has the same buy. We don't want to do that. I like Noah Gray. Cole Kmet does stack up with Caleb Williams again here, and he will be out there to some amount. Though it does feel like Cole Kmet's going to become the Dawson Knox of this team. Out of these tight ends left, I think Noah Gray would be my favorite pick, but I'll go for the correlation instead, go Cole Kmet. Terrence Ferguson at one point is going to be a good tight end in the league. If you're taking Dynasty, take Terrence Ferguson. For this year, though, like Higbee's going to be your guy at tight end. So that's that. Disley was still there. I would take Disley over Conklin. Disley's getting paid like $6 million more, some shit like that. He's your lead tight end for the Chargers. Final team here, 3-6-8-3. We got Caleb Williams, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold. At RB, Jahmyr Gibbs, Omarion Hampton, DeAndre Swift, Isaac Arendo, Jalen Wright, and Marshawn Lloyd. So the Hampton part of this is really what fucks me up. Like, I just don't think, like, if I got Mixon here, like, the team would feel a little bit tighter. I think if I got Josh Jacobs, James Cook, team feels tighter. With Hampton, I'm just not sold that workload's there early. And I'm not sure he gets the workload throughout the course of the entire year, because Najee Harris is better than people realize, even though, he's not been great his entire career. At receiver, we got Terry McLaurin. Could not get Jaden Daniels back, though. We got Ted McMillan. Could not get Bryce Young back. Odunze, we got stacked up. Cooper Kupp, we got stacked up. Burden stacked up. Christian Kirk, we took to give us some more PPR points. Adam Thielen, part of our Carolina non-stack. Dontavian Wicks here because he's too cheap for a guy, again, getting a ton of targets. And Brock Bowers, Elijah Arroyo, Cole Kmet. Awful RB room, but Brock Bowers should carry most of the water there. And if he doesn't, we're fucked anyway. So that's the last team here. Hate to be jumping off when we got 69 live viewers, but I do appreciate how nice all 69 of you are watching live. But show some love if you can. Hit the like button, subscribe. Again, every Friday, do the drafts on all three platforms. Underdog, DraftKings, Drafters, showing you a different look on all the sites. I think that's important for you guys in best ball to not get married to one platform, to play the field a little bit. Go fuck some different sites. Give yourself different shots at winning that money up top. In particular, all three tournaments, combine them together, you got a shot at $4.5 million. So we did today here. So show some love if you can. Hit that like button, subscribe. Do check out Drafters as well. $100 deposit match on Drafters. It's a great site to play on where you have total PPR, total point scoring rather, full point PPR, 20 rounds of a draft, no playoff pods, a little bit less luck component in there. You have to hit the nuts for sure, but it is a little bit easier to win money on there as I did last year, finishing top 10 in playoff best ball with only 3 entries. Year before that, finishing top 100 in their big tournament with about 30 entries. That's what you can get on Drafters. Your money will carry you a little bit further, and they are presenting the show this year, this summer. So check them out, drafters.com. Promo code SPLASH for $100 deposit match. Shout out to all you guys hanging out. Would love to hang out with you guys more in the Discord. $5 to join, and really, it is a good community we're building there, and that's my goal. If people are not adding to the community, they can get out, and it doesn't matter too much to me. But that's really what I'm trying to do, build a little micro community here. We can talk about shit. We can gamble together, and you guys can do whatever you want with the info I give. But follow your hearts, Gamble responsibly, guys. You know it's always money time here. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow this channel at Splash Play Pod. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys again soon. So enjoy your days. Good luck. And go watch the Typhel Tower. Go watch Neil Orfield. Go watch some more best ball streams, right? But I'll see you guys soon. So enjoy your days. Bye-bye. I got distracted by the alarm. Okay, bye.